Okay, take two. Hey, on today's episode of Let's Talk FGO, we're going to talk to you about the Prisma Codes rerun and the ongoing Magical Girl Crisis, and also a little big new event in JP with servants. It's Little Big Tengu. And also, this is still just as genuine. Like, this was a genuine moment before, but even in take two, this is really genuine, guys. I have 4 pages of notes about vampires. I said the last time we did this that my soul hurt a little bit, and it does. My soul hurts a lot, guys.
He is now confident, Megan. He has moved beyond floor and gone to full coffin. Just close that lid.
Yeah,
he's done.
Just put me in the ground. Now, on this, however, I can confirm right now that Lucky is actually audible. Those were his sound waves just now.
Excellent.
So to explain before I do the intro, so now as you can clearly hear Lucky, I forgot to reset my speaker settings, or they got changed back to default, so I wasn't doing audio loopback, so y'all could not hear Lucky for like the first 6 minutes of the show, which unfortunately was too long to just power through it. But I am one of your hosts, Omega. That voice you just heard out there is Lucky. And I gotta tell you guys, you just listen to the old StudiOmega here and now, and take our advice on a dark and stormy night when the lightning's crashing and the thunder's rolling and the rain's coming down and sheets thick as lead. Just remember what old Omega does when the earth quakes and the poison arrows fall from the sky and the pillars of heaven shake. Yeah, we just look at that big old storm right square in the eye and say, give me your best shot, pal. I can take it.
And off that inspiring speech, I hope everyone's enjoying Fate Grand Order, aka Big Trouble for Little Girls. And while we here at StudiOmega like to bring you the latest in FGO-related news and memes, we will be talking about current and future events with JP and EM versions of the game, so anyone not want to spoilers should grow up, in various meanings.
Yeah, we'll explain all that stuff later. Because we didn't get to explain it first. Yay.
No, we didn't.
Okay. Yeah, I think, did that take less time? That's like, nah, it didn't take any less time. Okay, we'll just keep powering through what we did before, because there is actually quite a lot of show to hit up today, guys.
Yes.
So.
I should probably get the timer ready. I think about it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll take some time on the news, but I don't know how fast it'll be. Anyway, I would like to remind everybody that this episode is brought to you by patrons like Adam DeHarp, Ahaka Comics, Archetype 10, Black G, Carlos, Qua, Ferris, Jeremy Vasquez, Jonathan Sandoval, Kylie Denton, Legendary Boss Hunter, Liam Kester, Reach Raptor, Rogue Ramen, Shawnee P, Some Guy Named Bob, Soda Soda for 2 for 17 and Zach Reed. And if you like this video and want to see us do more, consider supporting Patreon and get access to this early on. So good about that. Thank you for your support, everybody.
Thank you.
Had a little extra take 2 energy. Listen, you guys don't ever hear them because most of the stuff we put out is take 2s or 3s, and it doesn't happen a lot with Let's Talk FGO. But absolutely, when recording videos, there are sometimes when I just go, "Hey, everybody, blah 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 blah, fuck," and then I just take 2. Sometimes you just can't speak's good. But yeah, okay, let's keep going. Let's go ahead and check in with everybody's favorite Kohai Mash now that you can hear her.
Senpai, 起きてください.
That's right, everybody. It's time for Wake the Fuck Up Senpai. We're going to segment for pro tips. So, as people may or may not know, there was the Rare Prism on Extra Welfare bug again. It was even in the Issues tab of FGO. That has since been fixed, though, with an emergency maintenance, so if you're wondering why you suddenly have Saint Quartz, this is why. I believe it was earlier today as of the time this is recorded, so it may have been a couple of days ago for you. I'm pretty sure I was asleep or wasn't logged into FGO and didn't notice. But it happened. So I believe everybody who should need their Rare Prisms has gotten them now, and I want to give everybody a reminder on the Rare Prism procedure. Basically, you should get your Rare Prisms from Extra Welfare copies immediately once you start getting your 6th, etc. copy in the present box. You do not have to burn the Welfare to do so. So if you ever are wondering where your Rare Prisms are, that's where they go.
They go in the box.
Yeah, okay, well, so let's reiterate Records from the Throne, our regular achievement topic, and then we'll be all caught up.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking of things that come out of boxes, that's not as good a segue as it was the first time. I got my new phone. Since Lucky asked this already, I will preemptively say that it is a Motorola. It's a Moto G9, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got a lot of spare storage even after all the system updates and stuff, and it's got more RAM, so it runs FGO great. Obviously, I have to reset all my settings and everything, but, it runs very well. Summoning servants and things goes by very fast. Servants load in when they're dead, etc. And Google Play Bind worked perfectly. I just installed FGO and logged in immediately. I didn't need my transfer code. I don't know exactly how that process works, but it worked pretty good, so that's great. Plus, it's also got fun features, like I mentioned, my thumbprint scanner. It's adorable. All kinds of fun stuff. And because I have been playing the sweet, sweet power of FGO, I have also protected Dante's Smile.
Kuhaha.
Shark baby kuha.
On Lucky's side, so Lucky spent all the quartz he had, which was 150, and got MP2 Ilya. this cheeky child. Following that, though, I also was able to max limit break the event CEs, the SR and SSR. They were just annoyingly at that 3 pips. And this was before Lucky actually started getting wise that maybe I shouldn't just smash them all together if there's going to be a rerun. Also, pulled my 5th JK Fox. It's like, I am slightly wondering why she's so eager all of a sudden, because she showed up around New Year's and now. It's like, okay, but hey, that's another one off the list. And in my final 10 roll, I was able to get me a Miyu. So, once again, I have dodged the bullet of, breaking out my credit card.
Yay. Hence
Yay.
why we don't even have any All the World's Evil this week. Yay. No, All the World's Evil comes later. It's the research I had to do for this. Okay, alright. So, let's really quickly power through. Did you finish your master missions? Which I did earlier before we started recording.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're easy or something. So, you're going to need to defeat 15 Archer or Caster class enemies, not servants or bosses. Defeat 15 Saber Rider class enemies, not servants or bosses. Defeat 15 Lancer Assassin or Berserker class enemies, not servants or bosses. But also defeat 5 servants and also 10 servants, and then complete 5 quests with a caster in your party, aka do the event! To do that effect properly, I'd need to, stick my head in some sand and say it through it now, because obviously I'm in a hole in the ground.
The speaking tube. That reminds me, there are actually some cases of people being buried with little tubes or little bells just in case they actually weren't dead and got up later. You just see over Omega's grave plot, the bells just ringing frantically.
My hand just shoots up and with my phone in it.
Oh man,
that's how I'll feel when the new banner comes out.
Pretty much.
But yeah. So speaking of new banners and stuff, let's just jump right into skelegrams.
Yeah.
So, this was actually announced on that Winter Caravan special web stream they did last week. It was actually not at a horrific time in the early hours of the morning, so we both watched it.
Yes.
I will say, unfortunately, they wasted a fuck of a lot of time with a weird crossword puzzle and stuff. Not that it wasn't cute, but man, boy, that relying on Japanese strangers online to solve puzzles took them a while.
Who knew?
Yeah, but there was still some fun stuff there. They had some merch things going out. They, did some discussion with everybody. They showed off some new things, had some funny comments with people. They did some charades, which were pretty adorable for the crossword puzzle thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the real key there was at the end, Nissan popped out and was like, yo, I got some stuff for you. Which was announcing Little Big Tengu running from 120 to 23. And you guys need to behold a new mission-based event.
Behold.
Which also, ironically, seems to harken back to some themes that are in Prisma Codes a little bit. Mini Jason and Mini Ku have returned. There's also a mechanic called supporter characters, which includes, in addition to those two, Benkei, Ushi, and Kiichi. With, super deformed Mini Benkei being, the source of that energy, right? So it's a little... It feels like they're doing some symbolic things there. It's kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
So complete the event to get brand new welfare assassin Kiichi Hogen. So I will have new servant deets later, but I think I wanted to open this up with, first of all, we're getting a brand new welfare right off the bat in FGO, right?
Yes.
And not one of our typical pillars, right?
No, I think we actually, looked this up. I think the last time we got a welfare from an event like this was all the way back to... Was it Rider Kentucky? Because...
Yeah. And even then... An important thing I'm also going to bring up is, even then, Rider Kentucky is still Kentucky. He already had a banner and was a character who existed before that.
Yes.
Kiichi Hogen is a actual, world premiere character for the first time in a standalone event. Mm-hmm. The only other servants who come close as welfares are Cha-Cha, who is still very much in the Gouda Gouda Koha Ace ethos, right?
Yes.
And kind of sort of Mecha Liz, but those are also, while their own characters, are also very obviously linked to Liz. So,
yes.
Kiichi Hogen is a full-blown standalone character with her own lore and stuff, showing up first as a welfare. Wild. And hopefully means that in 2021, Delightworks is committed to hitting more welfares, because it was pretty lean last year.
Yes.
You can say they hit the same amount with... Nobukatsu, because while you had to roll him, he was in the free-to-play gacha, and that is something you can technically do for free, every day.
Mm-hmm.
But still, it was a low amount last year for probably obvious reasons, and we're starting off strong with an OG character, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, we actually, I think it's like to say, like, especially once we got into later half of the year, the events kind of picked up. But let's see, we had our collab our Golden Week collab welfare. We had our summer welfare. We had our Christmas welfare.
Yeah.
And then
we did have a new free-to-play servant for Guda Guda, but he was not a welfare.
Yeah.
So, by the way, when I said the 4 pillars, that's what I was talking about. You can be reasonably sure that in a year of FGO, you will have a Golden Week collab, a summer event, a Christmas event, and probably a Guda Guda at this rate.
Yes.
So, and all 4 of those usually come with welfares.
Mm-hmm.
Though also in other news, I want to say, there's been rumors that that Liz has appeared in Little Big Tengu and has said that this is the quote-unquote year of Halloween. So,
are we finally going to get Elizabeth Japan?
Maybe because maybe Liz just took a couple years off.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. True. But yes, people are talking about how there was only those 4 in 2019 because we dropped Halloween. But we'll see. We should get at least 4, if not 5 or 6 even this year. And we're starting off with an assassin. While obviously there's still have been welfare assassins, it's been a little while, because it's been since Case Files collab we're going to get later this year, and Gray. So, nothing wrong with that. Also, shocking nobody, though it wasn't previewed at the time, it did when the event dropped show off. There are animation updates for Ushiwaka and Benkei, as well as rank ups.
Ushi's animations are so good. So spin.
Yes.
Much jump.
Much jump. Much boat now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of actual aspects to all of them.
I saw Benkei's too. Yeah, Benkei's cool too. I like what they did with his Noble Phantasm animation. It's, as I said, Benkei's never been necessarily one to stand out, but his animations feel like his hits have weight to them now, and I'm like, okay, I appreciate this.
Yeah. So, for the rank ups, Ushi's Charisma, which was like a C rank before, is now upgraded to the full 10 to 20%, and also gives herself 30 to 50% crit up for 3 turns, and drops 10 to 20 stars on you immediately. So, this basically, now that all 3 of... Well, she added a 3rd skill, and her first 2 skills have been upgraded. Now she has a pretty complete package in terms of self-quick buffs, team attack buffs, team NP gain stuff, right? She has an evade, so, like, she's got a lot of different things to give you all the stuff. The only thing I don't think she has is a crit gen buff outside of her NP. And I don't know if she's got a star weight. I'd have to double check. But she's a writer, so what is...
I'm about to say, she's a writer.
Yeah, no, so it's a very solid kit, which makes her a well-rounded choice to be a single-target boss hitter in your free-to-play, 3-star comps.
Yes.
And hey, Benkei's NP now strips buffs.
It's an
AoE buff strip, and also its curse damage has been doubled overall. So it started at 500 before, now it goes to 1,000 at default, and it caps out at, I believe, 5,000.
No, the strip, like I said, Benkei is always going to be overshadowed by other players, but just the fact that he can now strip buffs totally means that people will be like, for more annoying fights, people will probably be relying on him
now
a little bit
Benkei
more.
has a use, along with a lot of other 2-stars, as that budget, weird, specific thing, right? Like, he did not stack up to other big-name 2-star taunters, like Leonidas or George. Now he can, because he has the ability to do that interesting damage over time stuff, and he's got that basically free AoE buff strip, which is great. Everybody loves that. You don't even have to worry about him doing damage because it's a non-damaging NP. And it's, I mean, at MP5, it's an 80% stun. You can do some stuff with that. It's not reliable, but you can enhance that a little bit.
Yeah, there's CEs for that.
Yeah, so you can do some stuff with him in budget comps, and again, the fact that they are doing so much to make buff strip available to everybody, you have a Benkei, unless you're a lunatic who burns your bronzes or something. But no, you've got one, which means in 2 years, you have a AoE buff stripper, which is great.
Who knows, we might get, actually.
Animation updates usually come early. I don't know about rank ups, though.
Yeah, that's true.
They could do that. Ooh, excuse me, sorry. They could do that probably because of the fact that our game versions are so close now, but I don't know if they would.
Hey, the light works. Give me that Uji update now. Just give.
Yeah,
it's good. It's so good.
No, it's real good. But okay. Bonus servants include Kagekiyo, Kiichi, Jason, Benkei, Maeve, Ku Alter, Ushi, obviously, Dioscuri, all Liz's, Kaisar, Fergus, Nobukatsu, Scathach, all Jolters, Iskandar, Alexander, Ilya, Waver, Murasaki, Iris Veal, Medea and Medea Lily, Gray, Mao Nobu, Gorgon, and Sitanai.
I do not see the pattern here at all.
Oh, did I not? I also forgot to put Little Medusa on there. So, for some of these characters, it's big and smalls, right?
Yeah.
So there's Iskandar and Alexander, right? There's all Jolters, because remember, Santa Jolter is also a Jolter. So, there's Ilya, Sitanai, and Iris Veal, which is like a triangle of weirdness. You could even argue Nobukatsu and Mao Nobu, right?
Yeah.
But then there's, like, Maeve's in it. Maeve has a pretty kick-ass 5-star CE in the banner, too. Holy shit.
I think it's called a 1-inch princess.
Yes.
Yeah, it took me to realize, it's like, no, it's a shrunk Maeve. Holy shit, it's Thumbelina.
Yeah,
Wild.
no, it's not very clear at first. That's why I had to, like, click on it and zoom in. I'm like, oh yeah, no, that is. So, like, I'm assuming there's that, but like I said, there's Kualter and Jason. And Medea Lily, obviously. So there's, like, I feel like there's some weird Prisma Codes Magical Girl throwbacks. But some of them are just straight up not that. Like, Caesar and Fergus are both in here. Waver, Lady Murasaki.
Well, technically, Waver, I guess Waver would count for that because
that's true. Because he does get big and small in his ascensions. He is a self-contained one. Funnily enough. But yeah, Gray is in there. But there aren't any like other saber faces besides Jolter in there either. Nor is there regular Jean the Big Sister. Like, it's a little weird. There's also only Gorgon and Anna, Lancer Medusa, not regular Medusa. I don't know if they maybe cut some corners or did some interesting stuff with the story writing to make up some room, right?
How's spread actually across classes?
I believe it's pretty decently spread. Like, you've got several sabers, including the only free-to-play... Well, no, you've got all the free-to-play sabers, actually, I think. Maven and Kualter are high-level, but they're story-locked, but you've got Ushi in there, Alexander, It has a lot of welfares in there. Remember, this is all Liz, so you've got regular Lancer Liz, and then also Brave Liz and Caster Liz, right? So Gray's in there, I mentioned earlier, and Iris Veal, who is an ancient, at this point, welfare. Like, that was, early in year 1? Or was late in year 1? Either way, like, there's a lot of backlog welfares in here, right?
Yeah.
So, like, this is a pretty accessible lineup, with still some newer stuff in there. And, of course, there's a banner. We've got new SSR Avenger, Taira no Kagekiyo, and also on raid up, you've got Ushi, and also a Kualter and Maeve rotation raid up.
Not bad.
We will talk more about new units later. Because I got all those notes. So, the other big thing happening is right now, in North America, Prisma Codes rerun, also starting 120 and going to 2.3, or 2.2 actually, I think. I just wrote the notes the same, because they started at the same time. I put JP up top because, one, you people probably care more than about a rerun, and also two, it did technically start sooner because of future powers. But this is pretty basic. We've got the Prisma Code that's back with the usual rerun touch-ups. So you get double EXP on Chloe, in case she's new to you and is not already level 80. And you will hopefully get all your Rare Prisms for extra copies. Because Quick is good now, there's also a Quick Damage CE, and some of the resistances have been swapped around so you can actually play Quick Servants. Wild. There is going to be a new challenge quest for a lore. The old challenge quest just gives you, like, some mats. The new one will give you a lore. There is also going to be a new costume dress for Ilya at the end, so she can cosplay as Testament. The banner is a rotation between Ilya, Maeve, Rhyme, Helena, Medea Lily, and Newcaster Miyu. Also, yes, I will be doing So You Didn't Get That 5-star on Miyu later. I did not decide to give her a full wanted because traditionally the extra 4 stars on rerun wanteds don't do very well. And Miyu is also an original character, which means there's not nearly as much to talk about besides spoil Prisma for everybody. So we'll just put in the back. We'll leave an open field, and hopefully you guys are sufficiently wowed by Valentine's and Lucky's upcoming Wanted.
It's at 4 pages.
Y'all better be wowed.
Mm-hmm.
Watching you. But that, I believe, wraps up all our big news. The only other thing I think I want to say is that with Little Big Tengu, which fired off in late January, we have already scratched 2 out of 10 off that big list they gave us. That was both Kiichi and Kagekiyo.
Yeah, they probably got a couple in there. They probably already... Well, actually, would they have their collab silhouettes in there for Golden Week?
Entirely possible. Remember, I believe they said they need to start working on a servant like a year ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
So they probably already know what they're doing for the collab this year.
Yeah.
That I don't know if they would put on there, though, because the collab is, like, usually super secret.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's a collab with other Type Moon personalities, like, if they put Ark's silhouette in there, people would be like, hold on a minute. I recognize that funny vamp.
Yeah, I was about to say, honestly, I was actually kind of thinking about everyone's so hyped for Tsukihime, probably with that collab. I mean, even to an extent, me and you. It would just be like them to be like, and it's time for Zero Part 2. And you're just like, what?
It's time for Strange Fake. We literally locked up Narita. He can't do anything to stop us.
Well, no, because that's you actually mentioned this a long time ago. Well, not a long time ago. I combined my thoughts there. You actually mentioned this earlier. It's been run things like Irie, Nobu, even Kentoki. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of welfares that are like literally, especially in JP, are years gone.
Yes, and with no good way to get them back. Like, you can. I believe the total list of welfares is like, it's just BB and Santa Altera in main interlude now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can get Saber Lily in the free-to-play gacha.
Yeah. So there are some that are accessible, but there's still a lot. So I'm just like, I've been wondering a little bit about this. Is like what is Lightworks going to do to make, for older welfares more accessible? Because, like as I said, like Wednesday said, this event comments, they're accessible, but that's only if these people played since the reruns. Because I remember all these only had like one rerun, and it was like usually a couple years after the original.
Yeah, anybody who started playing in the last year or so, like last year there was the. Actually, wait, has there been a rerun for Case Files? I don't even know. Case Files doesn't even have a rerun yet. So
no, Case Files has a rerun. I'm pretty sure they did it last year.
Was it last year? Was it immediately after? I don't think the timing on that's right. Because it would have been 2 years back. Was that already the latest rerun? Because we've only just gotten a rerun on OQ in JP, like middle of last year. Did they also hit a Case Files last year?
Rerun. Let me see if I can find the fucking.
It was in 2020. Wow. Okay, they must have been starved. They were definitely starved for events then. That's usually pretty fast for a collab rerun.
Oh yeah, usually they take like 2 years, but yeah, no.
As we can see right now with the Prisma collab. Okay, so they did already rerun that. Okay, so you have a second shot at Gray, which probably means that somewhere in the past 2 years you got her. But yeah, no. The Liz welfares are long gone.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Santa with Jolter Lily, right? That's ancient history. That was Christmas number 2. Irie is also like long gone for us. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It definitely seems like they're putting more emphasis on these characters, so maybe they're planning their way to bring some of them back, and maybe even give some of them some buffs.
That'd be good. That'd be cool.
Because hell, even if you can't, honestly, I would say there's no point in buffing them if you can't give people a new way to get them, because the people who got them. But also, it would be nice to reward people who have had them and had them so long to give them some extra juice, because a lot of those first year of welfares are not super competitive. Funnily enough.
But who knows? Well, again, we're inching ever closer to the Golden Week collab. Like I said, the real big thing is we're probably gonna have in JP. We're gonna have whatever they're doing for Valentine's, and we're probably gonna get the third silhouette off the list. And
I wouldn't be surprised.
That would be surprised.
I do believe they also, because this is their winter festival, so I think they've got their winter festival caravan, I should say. So I'm pretty sure they've got more events queued up. I think there's another stream coming in early Feb, so. We'll probably get our teas then.
Yeah. And then Golden Week is April? I always forget.
Yes, Golden Week is early April.
So we'll probably have maybe one other event or something in the between time, but who knows?
Yeah. Or just there'll be White Day, which is probably going to be another mini event kind of a thing.
No, they might rerun what they did last year.
That's true. They could also rerun Odysseus' event. Because like we said, White Day's not always new shit every year.
Yeah.
So they could decide to save themselves the time and rerun Odysseus, because I don't think he hasn't had any other raid ups since then, I think. So
yeah, and it's true. Again, we're still working with the Backstreet Boys Reunion Tour, so the less work they have to do to get something out, probably the better.
Mm-hmm. And obviously they have been working their butts off from home to reach this stage. But yeah, so all right.
Exactly.
Well, now I think it's time to open the mailbag, Lucky, because we've caught up with the news.
Yeah. Alright, so everyone sit down, strap in, and hold on to your butts. It's time for this week's Let's Talk FGO Mailbag, the segment where we read what you send in to us. And we mock you for your poor choice of words, lack of punctuation, and horrible grammar. Don't worry, we laugh at ourselves too. So, with the completely overwhelming 4 pages of notes just on today's Teach Me Omega topic, Sensei, plus cup servant deeds, plus whatever little other things that we're going to tangent on because I like to make Omega faff. We're only going to stick this to the time limit of 1 hour. So if your submission does not, that's the word, submission. If your submission does not get read, I apologize in advance. But we start right meow. And our first one comes from The Gotcha Provides, who says, question, how are you doing? Just here to say that your long podcasts are perfect to help me fall asleep, but worry not, I listen to them fully before using them as a sleeping aid. Keep up the good work, you're the best.
No, you the best.
No, you the best. Thank you for listening, and I'm glad that our voices take you to dreamland. I hope you dream of many, many good things. So thank you very much. We move on to the next one, Secret Casino King Bum Bun, who merely says, more weekly well wishes for you both. Same to you, my dude. I hope your week is going fantastic, and I hope your next week is just as much. So thank you very much. Moving on. This one comes from the Dragon King, who says, no questions this week, just saying hi and wishing you luck in life. Well, hello to you too, my friend. Wishing you the best. Stay cool, stay positive, and stay on top of the world. I'm gonna skip this next one because they didn't put in an alias.
Rip.
Rip, big rip. Thank you for your submission, but please add aliases. It lets you know. It lets everyone know. But we move on. This next one comes from Mistaken Heptagons for Hexagons. What's a heptagon?
I believe that's 7 sides.
Oh. Dear Lucky Omega, why is it that Caliblog has so many forms? With Amia turns into an arrow, Maeve a whip sword thing, and Fergus a drill.
Okay, so, with Amiya, first of all, it's Calidbog 2. Mm-hmm. So, that is specifically, he projects Calidbog and then makes his own improvements. That's why it becomes an arrow. It's still drill-shaped, as you can see very clearly in the animes by our friends over at UFO Table. But, yeah, that's still, it still keeps its drill-like shape. But it is explicitly called Calidbog 2. With Fergus, the drill form is, I think, the way it's supposed to be because Nasu thinks he's a very funny man, and there's that myth about it blowing up a hilltop with an errant swing. So it's a drill that shoots rainbows and blows up mountains.
Sounds pretty drill to me.
If you look at Saber Maeve's appearance of Calidbog, it's still fundamentally like twisty and drill shaped. But it is explicitly noted, and this has been noted since Rider Maeve has been a thing, that one of her noble phantasms is to quote-unquote borrow the power of Calidbog because she can always just be like, she can always tell Fergus to do the thing. Basically.
Fergus,
like, that's a literal noble phantasm. It's called Fergus, my love. So, yes, Maeve has a noble phantasm where she yells at Fergus to give her the sword. So, yeah. When she uses it that way, it is technically another noble phantasm copying another noble phantasm, so that's why it looks different. I don't think it's quite a Calidbog 2 situation, but basically, because it's Maeve, her version of the version of the sword that she summons is inevitably cuter, because aesthetics.
Well, you do have to remember, servants are generally just data, so, it could just be as simple as that the weapon design was changed just to suit the character better.
Yeah.
As Omega said, cuter. But thank you very much for that. We're gonna move on. This next one comes from A Vagabond Through Various Lands. And they say, hey guys, hope Lucky Stomachs feels better very soon. I'm doing alright. Since we're currently in this rerun, do you guys have anything that you want to accomplish during the event in terms of goals? If not, oh well, it's worth a shot in asking something. Anyways, hope you guys are doing okay. Thumbs up. Well, if we're talking about goals, I want to get to the new Quick CE, Max Limit Broken. I want to get the Testament costume. And I think that might be it.
Yeah, I think just in general, the thing with reruns is you want to get down the new stuff, and there is actually some decent new stuff. Like we said, there's a whole new CE for this they added. So, there's some stuff to hit, but in general, it's just, get some stuff out of the shop. There's yet more bells and pages and things in there, which I really need, so that's cool.
Yes. It's super cool. Once I get that done, though, I will try and work on the shop a little bit, work on the missions. Since I already completed this event, I already have my level 5, my MP5 Chloe. Hey, real talk, guys, if you want to get your Chloe, who's a really good single target archer, up to like level 90 or 100, this would probably be the best fucking time, because I'm pretty sure that double XP still counts even past 80.
Yeah, I believe double XP works even if you're grailing.
So keep that in mind.
Oh, actually, that is a good thing we might want to consider. Rare prisms are cool, so we'll be looking forward to picking those up.
Yes, more rare prisms. Like I said, ever since the Visionary Flames come up, I've been picking up a small stockpile, so I've been using mine, but always get to top off. Oh man, I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about how many NP5 SRs and SSRs I have. I'm just like, man, I got a good market. And it hurts me a little bit, especially in the wallet. Anyway, thank you very much for that. We move on. This next one comes from Chameleon. If you made it 5 commas, I actually would have done the bit, but you didn't.
Yeah, you only did 3 commas.
And I'm pretty sure everyone just now just mentally did the song just so they could count.
Probably.
I know you. I know you all are. Y'all caught. Anyway, but they say, as we all know now, Ushi finally got an animation update in GB, which finally did her justice, and Benkei. My question to you is this: who is deserving of the next animation update, or if they had one, a better one to replace it? Good luck on the rules, and have you get the joke of the alias name.
Oh, we got it! and we know you're lazy. There's more commas in that. I think for animation updates, some people still have caster balls. They are always eternally at the top of the list. Caster balls are dumb and should feel dumb.
Matahari.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just Matahari, but Matahari.
I don't know if it's just Matahari, but
I think, is Phantom still just claws and people too? It's kind of boring.
Probably.
Or did he finally get that animation update when he got his stuff up? No, he's still him. Okay, yeah.
Did Asterios ever get an animation update?
Did who now?
Asterios.
I don't think so.
Is he just swing axes really fast?
Yeah, I think he's just Unga Bunga Axe.
I do love my big fluffy boy. I wouldn't mind if he got an animation update.
Yeah, I mean, I think anybody at the bottom of the list, like bronzes, like Leonidas still needs an animation update. They've got a lot of material to work with now, thanks to Babylonia. So, like, they got a few. I think it's mostly low rarity units like that, though, that are on that list.
Yeah, usually they usually are doing like pretty, especially now, in our current years, they're usually pretty good with their animations. So mostly it's just taking care of all the older ones.
Yep. And just, having enough time to do work.
So thank you very much for that. We move on. This next one comes from Today Friday Feels Like Thursday. Nah. I don't know if how you is, but me working, it's not actually 8 to 5, it's more like 7 to 4. I never have that feeling. When it's Friday, I'm like, it's fucking Friday. But I will definitely say there's some days where it's like Tuesday, I'm like, it's still fucking Monday, ain't it?
Yeah, time is an interesting concept.
Yep. So, but anyway, they say, hello, Lucky with a Y and Omega. Have a good one. You too. I'm glad you remembered the extra wait, no, it's a vowel. No, it's a consonant. It's Y!
And sometimes Y. Welcome to the English language, kids.
Yep. So, thank you for that. We move on. This next one comes from your true enemy, Alpha and Misfortune. And they say, hi guys, hope you guys are doing well. I just wanted to ask, why was Consort Yuru's memory not erased when she ascended to the Throne of Heroes? The dialogue when you summon her is funny though. Just wanted to check if I missed some details. Thanks.
You did. You have to ask yourself, why would her memory be erased when she goes to the Throne of Heroes? Why would that be? It wouldn't. That's why. To clarify, just for people who may be confused, Yu doesn't die or go to the Throne of Heroes or whatever until after Lost Belt 3 canonically takes place. Technically, thanks to the power of the fact that the throne is outside of the axis of time, you can summon her before then, through special circumstances. I'm sure that's very confusing and painful for her. But, no, normally servants remember their lives, and she was still alive, is the thing.
Yes.
And that's that.
So, thank you very much. Hope that answers your question. We're moving on. This next one comes from a guy whose MP2 Ilya looks weirdly older, more Russian, and seemingly called Anastasia MP5 instead. Oof. But they say, with a lot of servants coming out from collected legend, myths, and stories from all over the world, which recent or story collections would you be interested seeing new servants from? With all the Chinese servants recently released, I would think it'd be interesting to see some Korean servants too. Korea has a lot of interesting myths I think would serve well for servant backgrounds, at least in my opinion. Thanks and have a good day. I'm going to say right now, you're welcome to your opinion. If you got some ideas for some cool servants, Korean servants, please share them in our Discord. We like seeing a whole bunch of little stuff about that. But as for an actual answer to your question, Lucky is, good old red, white, and blue, American. Excuse me while I go eat a hot dog and shoot my guns into the air while I screech like a bald eagle. But, I've actually mentioned this several times. I grew up with American folktales, because actually I grew up in Texas. So, Pecos Bill, John Henry. We got Paul Bunyan already. I think those are like the big three. There's a bunch of little smaller ones because we got like Johnny.
We got a lot of little stuff here, but
yeah, but those are like the big three in basically American folktales is John Henry, Pecos Bill, and Paul Bunyan. So we're at one out of three. I wouldn't mind seeing the other two. Outside of the U.S. though, very specifically, I would like maybe to see a couple more African ones. Specifically Anansi the Spire, the storyteller. I say another touchstone of my youth.
There's also a couple. I do know there's a couple of really interesting, like Central or South African legends as well out there.
Oh yeah, no, there totally is. But
well, for me, Lucky's a thinkifying.
I'm a thinkifying.
I mean, in general, I want more paladins, and I want the paladins we already know exist more. Looking at you, Charlie and Roland. Because there's a lot of those guys, and they aren't statted and stuff yet. So
out there,
that would be cool to get them out there and be an FGO. Other than that, my personal area of wonk is Egypt. I know we do have a couple of those guys, but there's a lot of famous pharaohs and other even possibly mythological figures you could get out there and do some work with that FGO hasn't quite touched on. Like, Nitocris is arguably not even real. Like, that might just be a weird story somebody told Herodotus, and Herodotus' rule was if somebody told him, he wrote it down like it was history. Like, no, I know modern historians hate him for that, but, like, he wasn't trying to be a literal historian. He was just talking about, like, hey, here's what people told me happened. We do obviously have Ozymandias, but, Ramses the Great, a nice point in the middle, but also, the other is like Cleopatra, who's at the very, very end of Egyptian power. So there's a lot of wiggle room in between, and a lot of interesting figures and characters you could drum up. So yeah, that's I think my two big focuses.
Yeah, and in general, Lucky is always down with more monster girl servants. Doesn't matter where. Are they monster? Are they girl? I'm there. We mentioned this with Skyla. And Scala.
God, I want them to make that servant for real, just so I can hear what the hell the Japanese do to that name.
Now I can't remember the other one. It's Scala and who?
Oh, in the duo, it's Charybdis. I don't know if Charybdis is even a...
Yeah.
Charybdis is a whirlpool normally. So
yeah, I know, but that just means that's a girl with big eat energy. Feed her. Yeah, I mean, I could go on Monster Girls all day, but I won't. So, I think we're going to go up there. So, thank you very much for your question. We move on. This next one comes from The Eternal Storm, who says, first of all, I apologize for my question last week. I didn't want to make any assumptions about what games you guys have played. Anyway, hoping you both are enjoying the week. I lived. Question. Yep. What is an incident that you have either enjoyed or has stuck with you? For me, Amakase Shiro's was nice because 1, you get to destroy Zoken and Mato, and 2, because of all the twists that go on during the interludes. I will forever love Lancer Artoria's interlude, because Romulus is just there saying, tell her you love her, and you're just like, I love her! And Lancer Artoria is like, I can't even right now.
What the fuck is happening? Sadly, can't relate to that one or the Amakase Shiro one, because I don't have those servants. Rip. Let me see. Ishtar's interlude was very funny because you stage a robbery. In terms of sticking with me, though, I think I remember Enkidu's interlude very clearly because that you actually go back to Babylonia, and I remember it because it re-exposed me to the trauma of Lamu. But it also had some interesting ramifications for, like, Kingu's character arc and some postscript stuff on Babylonia, because Enkidu technically wasn't really there, so... It's a big one. I'm trying to remember, were there any other big... No, unfortunately, especially a lot of early interludes have the problem of just, like, hey, we want to write more about this servant. They do fun stuff. Like, regular Jean has, like, a lot of interludes that form a story arc, but also I gotta be honest, I don't think they're really that interesting. It's, hey, Jean d'Arc continues to be uncorruptible pure pureness. Cool. Mephisto is entertaining in them anyway, but I don't actually think they really go anywhere.
No,
very interesting. Really they do shed some light on her backstory and stuff, but it's not, like, super crazy. Yeah, actually, Abby's interlude is also a good postscript. Loth just brought that up to me, because you get to talk to Salem Abbey again, and it touches on a lot of weird stuff that's probably coming back in summer.
I hope.
So, yeah, no, like, it's mostly those. I like interludes that directly touch on, prior experiences with characters, or give us good backstory information, or are entertaining. And unfortunately, there are a lot of make-work interludes. They got better about that.
Lucky doesn't mind make-work interludes.
I mean, no, interludes are cool, especially because they get you even more sync chords and sometimes skills and NPs and stuff. But it's definitely, when you're talking about, like, sticking with you, those definitely kind of blur together.
Oh, yeah, no. Alright, but that is that. So thank you very much. We move on to Zed. Just Zed. Who says, comment, no questions this week, and aside from playing Princess Connect Redive and finding that Kokoro has waifu stats that are way too high for a 11-year-old lolly character, like seriously, she is over-optimized for waifu lovability and attachment to the player, to the point that she is out-defaulting the actual main default waifu of a game. No gotcha news. I will say good luck on FGO stuff, and hope you two are enjoying the grind of the events you are playing. I feel like you just want to talk about Princess Connect.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Okay, and here's the thing. She's not your waifu. She's your precious Amoto who takes care of you, because there is definitely that archetype in anime and stuff. The super reliable younger sister.
You don't have to make it weird.
Yeah.
This is funny. I've seen this sentiment from other people this year, but you do have to remember that this isn't like some weird thing where there's only one type of love. There's actually like a great big triangle of different loves. You can totally have super intense love for family, or like love for your bro. That's not about kissy face stuff. That's it. Omega has no further comments about Precon because I'm not playing it. Lucky may have comments about it tomorrow because I do know that he downloaded it and re-rolled it a lot.
I did. Actually, wasn't that? I thought it was like, well, way back when. Who was it who defined the four loves? Who was that? I can't remember.
That was definitely a Greek philosopher thing.
Yeah, it was totally a Greek philosopher. I can't remember who though. Because it was like love for God, love for your family, love for your neighbor, and love for an intimate love, basically.
Yes. And then also had some commentary on stuff like, mania, like that weird possessive too far love, which is crazy. This actually plays a lot into how Greek mythology works because, like Aphrodite, for instance, is supposed to govern a lot of the different types of love, so there's a lot of weird Aphrodite legends.
Oh, man. Man, Greeks thought a lot back in the day. Anyway, so thank you very much for that. This next one comes from 100 befuddled at getting 3 different SSRs before getting a single copy of Miyu or SR. What are percentage rates? Someone just give me the aliens guy, put my head on it, and just say statistics.
I just shrug. I did the full shrug.
You did full shrug. Anyway, first off, hello, and hopefully this week is another good week for you both. I'm still alive. Constantly dogpiled Omega, and eternally chilled Lucky. How am I eternally chilled? I am the opposite of chilled. Well, whatever. Hopefully your Mia woes went well, if you went for her. I did. Also, I do want to go over something that leaves me a bit miffed. And that's story-specific skins, the characters being, well, exclusive to those story bits, such as Ayapat's Musashi, Dark and Ushi, the Hoot Drake, Babylonia Gil, etc. And it's just, well, if they're going to put in the effort to update these sprites as well when servants such as Gil and Ushi gets animation sprite updates, then why not make them usable so they can get more use than a single fight or two? And I do submit some are very minor, but I know that each has its fans hoping for them. But I'll cut this slight rant short, since for all I know, DW could plan to release them during some big campaign to kill more memes. And we did have a big costume push last anniversary.
Was that out before or after Drake got an animation update? I don't even remember.
I'm not sure.
I don't actually... Musashi's gotten refreshes to her NP animation, but I don't think her animation's ever been updated. I do know, obviously, that, that is something people have reported. Darkened Ushi from Babylonia does have the new sprite animations. I'm gonna assume, for them it's part of a process of, the animation rigging, that we don't understand how the sprites work and stuff, where they just... The way they build the code is they just do the thing, and because of the way the servants are, they just get the new animations. I don't know if they necessarily got it with Agartha. Yeah, that would make sense. That's what I'm hearing from the comments. So, yeah. There's... I assume it's just a coding backend, and I don't know. I know that, fan art and stuff sometimes treats Darkened Ushi as a completely different character. I don't know. The story stuff is interesting, and I think it makes for more impact. Obviously, we do have several story costume unlocks now. I don't know. Maybe they would, go back and retroactively add them? That might be kind of weird, though, because, imagine if they went back and be like, hey, you can get shirtless hair down Gil now. Or hair up Gil, I believe is. How's his special sprite even work? It's
I don't remember.
Shirt off, hair up? Something like that. It's just a fucking unique combination of his lack of shirt and his hairstyle. It's not even that big of a deal.
Honestly,
guys,
I do
believe he does have, I do believe he has some slightly different voice lines, but
Also, real talk, I can't remember, but isn't the eye that Musashi wears eye patch over the one that's not facing the screen in her sprite? I can't remember if it's the left or right eye. But if it is, what the fuck is that animation gonna do? You're not gonna see the fucking eye patch ever! Actually, I wonder if they have this.
That isn't autocomplete. Hold on. That's... You are correct. Now, technically, I think... Let me see if I can pull up that... Oh, whoop, no, that's gonna start a video. Don't do that. It's a video screen slide, not a...
How dare?
Not a real photo image. Thanks, Google. But you are correct. It is on the off side. Technically, looking at the sprite, obviously there's a story cut in, and there is some slight emphasis because she's literally wearing a sword tsuba, a sword guard over her eye. But no, it's also not a very big detail to throw in there. I mean, that could make it an easy fix, but that's still the way work works. I know it sounds dumb, but and also kind of I do believe they got some pushback from Rando Glasses costumes. They haven't done that one in a while, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. They may be stepping away from doing those small little fixes like that, or they may be building up for different stuff. Musashi would probably have to star in an event before they would bring her back. That's the thing I want to say, right? Ushi's animation update did wait, no matter how much people wanted it right the fuck now, and God knows how long it's been done, but it was done for an event that involved Ushi, That's a lot of these problems. Yeah, sure, maybe they could do that. Also, I gotta be real, though, one, I don't think we should double up on costumes too much, Nier is already a little weird, but to be fair, that was also in a event limited time situation. I don't know if that... Has Olympia Bloomers, come back to the Rare Prism shop?
I don't know.
Oh, actually, I forgot to mention that about Little Big Tengu. Sorry to make this go on too long. I don't know if let you stop the timer or anything. But
I could.
Maeve's prison warden costume got added back to the Rare Prism shop.
Oh, okay.
Which is a cool feature. But no, the only thing I want to say on this is, if it's a question of does your character get a minor costume or gets a big costume, I absolutely, and I don't think anyone wants Gil's dumb hair switch over Battle in New York Gil like Arcade has, right?
Yeah.
We're in a fight with Arcade right now, legendary man, Mr. Hunter. That's what we're going for. And also, like I said before, some of these characters might even be separate characters. So we'll see. Anyway, we've gone on long enough about this.
All right.
Let's keep going.
So thank you very much. The next one comes from Dave Tiana Agus Lanetio. I have no idea if I pronounced that right. I think is this Irish? I think this is Irish. That Welsh? That Gaelic?
I'm not really good at the Gaelic languages, but then again, who is?
Tiana Agus Lanetio. Sounds cool. Anyway, they say, what event would you want to get a sequel? Sequel.
I mean, honestly, I think the one I've most thought about in the past is Prisma, actually, because there are a lot of extra characters in the Prisma universe who are not addressed. Like, Prisma Codes was a collab event, but also it was very much kind of like Oniland, like a weird pastiche of magical girl tropes, as much as it was actually about the Prisma girls, right?
Right. Yeah, that'd be my knee-jerk response, too, because Prisma is still not done, if I remember correctly. It's still going.
But the manga has advanced several more cycles, and they've got several movies in the works that, address characters who are not yet addressed in FGO. Somebody already made the joke in chat about
Saber Wars 3.
Saber Wars 3, The Search for More Money. I wouldn't mind a Saber Wars 3 just for more Saber Wars characters that we're looking forward to, but we've already talked about those at length before, so let's skip that for now.
Also, I want to wait till I'm actually past Saber Wars 2 before I say I want another one.
Fair enough. That's also a fair deal.
I guess I guess my automatic response would go to another CCC event. Following up on that.
That's another big deal in some thematic terms. We know there's some servants out there.
I guess it doesn't have to necessarily be, CCC theme. It could be, Extella, just Moon Cell shenanigans.
God, yeah, there's a lot of stuff left on the table there. Fucking Moon, man. You guys don't even know the half of it. I've only explained, 50% of the Moon.
Actually, I had a weird Moon thought recently, and I can't remember what it was, because the Moon just has data. I don't know. Maybe I'll remember it later.
Moon Cell. Okay, anyway,
yeah, so let's go with Prisma Codes 2 and CCC 2, or Extella 2, or Moon 2. Moon, the sequel.
Moon 2, Moon harder.
It's about to get a little lunar in here. So thank you very much for that. We move on to Cahulian God, currently in Lucky's grammar jail, no relation to Horny Jail.
Tyranny Bonk coming soon, TM.
Yes. Actually, speaking of bonks, I think the big interview for me, this Prisma event, is just hitting everything with Ilya with one of the damage CEs. Because it is powerful. So just imagine Bonk go to Horny Jail and just put Ilya's hair on one of the dogs and just change the fucking bat to Ruby. It's like, yep, nope, that's me this event right now. Just bonk, bonk, bonk. Done. But they say, with the Prisma event upon us, I just wanted to know something about this Prisma series itself. Is it all gags and fan service, or is there some significant story behind to chew on?
Yes. Oh my god, yes. Holy shit.
Yeah, no. No,
we won't explain it, but Prisma starts as a weird gag series.
And then it gets dark. Why does it get so fucking dark? Jesus fucking Christ.
I think it's not until 3-Ray that it gets the anime 3-Ray, I think, the third anime season, that it gets really serious, but there's still some deep shit in there with Chloe. Honestly, I feel like the author almost wanted to get his fan service shenanigans out of the way before it became... He reminded everybody that it was a fucking Fate story.
No, I think that's the best way to say it. It's a Fate story.
All right. Sorry to interrupt that question, but that was just such a softball we had to respond.
Yeah. I only asked this because when I first started FGO and Fate as a whole, it was when the original Prisma event was likely on its last few days. And I only recall playing the first story and fight node of this event before stopping cold without knowing of what the Prisma had to offer, like its welfare. Although, with how underprepared I was, I might not have been able to finish it if I tried. But after seeing a familiar character from Fate's Day Night in a schoolgirl outfit with a talking stick being chased by a loud woman in pink accompanied by a small version of another familiar Fate's Day Night character, I felt too confused to go further. This being my first impression of the event, having zero knowledge of Prisma Ilya, only knowing bare-bone knowledge such as Fate as the adaptation, and with that, I only remembered faces, not stories or characters. Well, first off, I would like to remind you of the parallel world theory. This is actually a pretty big thing in Prisma and Fate as a whole.
Yeah. It's a different continuity. It has its own rules.
Yes, it has its own rules.
It has its own characters and build-up. And a lot of people can't get over the hump with Prisma because it starts off very, weird and Fate idiosyncratic, in its own ways. Mm-hmm. And keep in mind that I'm pretty sure the Prisma author also wrote Agartha. I believe that's who did that. So
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, so in terms of sheer shenaniganery, but also, it when it gets later in the arc, it's like, no, they like dig an actual serious plot out there. Like, I'm not even, it probably started as Type Moon always does, with just a dumb joke about, because the Kaleido sticks were already in Fate since I think Hollow Ataraxia, if not earlier.
Yes.
So, like,
Talking
it just
about
started
things that
as a, like, let's just do a Kaleido stick story, and it's dumb because it was a gag from the fan disc, and then it was just like, oh yeah, right, we need to explain shit, like, why are these servant cards a thing? Why do our magical girls have to fight stuff? And then fucking Fate bullshit and stuff. Like, I think fucking Bazette shows up in like season 2 and, you know, tries to murder everybody even though they're tiny girl children.
Yep.
And absolutely would have used Fragorock to absolutely ice Miyu if she hadn't attacked with an external Noble Phantasm attack. So, like, yeah, no, it's got stuff. And honestly, I feel like, so some people find it uncomfortable how much Macedon Girls Chloe does. I think it's hilarious because it makes you uncomfortable. It's supposed to be over the top, and that just makes me go, ha ha. This bothers people? That's
Real
silly.
talk, Prisma 2, Pandora. Give small.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of shit in there. There's also, for instance, Angelica, the female girl seen in that one CE, who could also be her own standalone character. How and why FGO has not decided to market Gil with tits, I really don't know. Is it because Gil gets so many rate-ups?
Maybe.
But, like, that's one of those obvious crossover things that I'm like, wait a second. Anyway.
They're
give Prisma a try, or don't. You know, like, maybe you don't, maybe it's not for you because, God, there is a lot of mood whiplash.
Yeah, no. Hold that thought 1 second.
Hold that thought. Doodly-doo. I'm hoping Lucky is holding his thought by also pausing the timer, but I'm not 100% sure because Lucky is away right now, so I'm just talking to you and I'm hoping that the clock's not ticking. But if the clock's ticking, who cares? What is even our next question? Alright, hold on, I'm getting news from the outside. Hold on, I'm getting told to pause for a little bit, so hold on everybody, we'll be right back. Alright, well, I'm gonna unpause and we're gonna go back to it. Lucky did in fact pause the timer.
I didn't pause the timer. Alright. So... Oh, there we were. Yeah, sorry about that. I had to step away for a moment. But we're back, and I think we pretty much finished the question. Unless there was anything else you wanted to say?
No, I think we're good.
Alright, so thank you very much for that. We're going to move on. This next one comes from Moon is now trapped in Jujutsu Kaisen hell. But hey, at least Sukuna is hot, especially since he got Junichi Soabe voicing him. That good old diva voice. Question. I know you guys are more into wives, but who's your top husbandos if you have any? That's all. Hope you have a great weekend. Listen, Lucky has many, many husbandos. Number 1, though, Asterios. Big fluff boy. Big energy. I love him. He's the best. Number 2, Astolfo. I mean, guys, come on. Let's see here. I got a lot of love for Leonidas, and I think those are my big 3. Yeah, it's Asterios, Astolfo, and Leonidas. Any men jump out to you, Omega?
No, sorry, I wanted to make sure if there was any cultural contest that I was mixing, and I found a very interesting, very interesting cultural commentary on how, while waifu is very weeaboofied, husband doesn't work at all because apparently that doesn't fit natural Japanese syllables.
No, it doesn't. But what else are you gonna say?
Apparently, by the way, if you wanted to make this closer, it should be more like hazubendo.
Husbando.
With like a Z. But anyway, I'll say no, not really. Like I got a lot of broski, but I won't put myself on the same level as everybody out there who's got real husbando energy. Like, it's cool. I admit I'm not on your level.
He's a banana cream. I don't like banana cream.
The things we say on this show.
But I opened the package. Now I gotta eat them.
You have to eat banana cream.
Eat the banana cream, Lucky. Do it.
It puts them in the basket, or it puts the lotion in the basket, or gets the hose again.
Yeah. So that answers that, as I now am eternally suffering.
You know, there was something I was thinking about like 5 seconds ago, but I've lost it. So
I'm sorry, banana cream, man. It hurts me.
I don't think it was that important. It'll come back to me later.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so thank you very much for that. This next one comes from Passion Lip is a sadist, and King Protea is lewd. Excuse you, sir. She is cute and pure and wholesome. Deserves
I think this is the same guy who's doubling down on his incorrectness.
No, that's fine. He can be incorrect. We all know it. But they say, When fake characters inevitably become virtual idols, who would be the first one? Or, if that's not FGO enough for y'all, do you have any FGO figures or any of that interests you? So, what do you mean, the first one? There is already one. It's Liz. You want to know why? Because she was on the moon cell. What's on the moon cell? Nothing but data. So, a digital Liz, that's a virtual Liz. Therefore, she's a virtual idol. Boom.
And scene. Let's go. Next question.
Let's go. Next question. So, thank you very much. The next one comes from, what do you do if you lack ice cream for Shiki and Scotty? I guess you die.
Yeah, die. That's what I always said.
A question. Is there any real way to know/guess ahead of time if a week is good to ask for questions between infinite mailbag on one hand and being crammed for news on the other?
Okay, so, guys, here's a word of advice. If it's like Thursday or Friday, and you know there's some big fucking FGO news that just happened, and you want to make sure you get your question in, don't overload the mailbag. It's as simple as that. Like, honestly, answer your question anyway. You never know what we'll get to in a week, and you can always resubmit later. But if you are actually, like, trying to make sure, like, literally wait for a slow news week, and you should know what they are, because you'll know before we get to Friday that there's been no FGO news to talk about. Right? I'll
also put on there, make sure, if you want to make sure, don't put it on the last show of the month. That's always when he has Teach Me Omega Sensei, and that's always probably going to be a 1 hour, because Omega's going to talk a lot in the back half.
Yeah, no, that's another good one. If you know we're about to do Teach Me the next week, that's not a great day for Unlimited. Like, it probably wouldn't have been limited anyway, because there's new servant details and stuff to talk about, but, like, absolutely, definitely not Unlimited, because, like I said, 4 pages of notes.
Yeah, if you know that there's going to be a new event that we're going to talk about, because Omega does often say if he's going to do a pregame or something next week.
By the way, next week will be a pregame for Voice and Letter Collection. Just heads up.
Heads up. If you hear out the week that there was big JP news or big EN news, probably not a good chance. And yeah, that's probably it. If there's big energy of anything coming up, probably not. If you don't hear about anything happening at all a week, yeah, probably Unlimited Mailbag works.
As it was for the past couple of weeks, I think?
Well, that was because it was New Year's, Christmas, and we were just all like, fuck it, I'm going all in.
Well, no, we had the Christmas, but I think last week was definitely Unlimited. Was the week before that one also Unlimited? We had a couple of big thing where, like, we did huge shows anyway for Christmas and New Year's, and then after Christmas and New Year's happened, there wasn't really anything new for a little bit, because they started... JP, for instance, started the year with Saber Wars Rerun, so we didn't have a whole hell of a lot to talk about, so we did full Unlimited Mailbag. Anyway, we're back on time. We're doing stuff.
A banana cream. So that's that. Thank you very much. This next one comes from a passing through Atlas Magus, or Magus, however you want to say it. Dear Magical Bunny of Tyranny, Lucky and Magical Sword of Knowing Stuff, Omega. No questions this week, just some well wishes as I go through Prisma event for the first time. Ciao! Peace.
Have fun. Have fun storming the magical girl. Wait.
Sir.
There is also actually a castle. Anyway, you can keep the joke.
So thank you very much. Hope your week is going well. This next one comes from, I have 763 gold apples. How will I eat them all? I think this dude just dunked on you, Omega. How many you at?
I am still at like 500 and something. I mean, technically there are like Start Nash and Returning Master stuff. There's probably ways to have more gold apples than I do. Anyway.
Question. If DW makes anti-knight class good versus Saber Archer Lancer, a la Demon God Pillars, what should they name it? Beast class.
Yeah, except every beast class has its own special resistances.
I know.
Honestly, so I've been thinking, I thought about this before, because this is a thing we've gone on for, like, literal years, is that they absolutely need the reverse alter ego. And actually, I personally think the way they're described, the Saver class, like, Buddha would be good for this. Like, I think it would be good for them to exist in that space, because they do have abilities to, like, do counter hero, which I think works very strongly for the core knight classes. And could probably go in an interesting place where maybe they are also strong against alter egos, because Saver is supposed to be strong. I know. So Kiara has anti-Saver powers, but the actual only Saver we've ever seen is supposed to be anti-Kiara, because she cannot goobly goo ara ara arrow arrow Buddha. That's not how it works. He's too cool for that. But I would think that could also make them weak to foreigners, so you could also build a second triangle in there. I think that would make a lot of sense, and is not any dumber than any other class triangles or things FGO has done.
If I was going to say serious, I would say maybe Faker might be a good contender too.
Yeah, it's true, because that would, the fake cavalry stuff.
We
could just.
But as I said, there's definitely less on Fakers than there is on Saver.
Yeah. You know, they could absolutely make a third Kiara alt who is Saber.
That'd be Kiara Alter. How wild.
Yeah, you can finally get good girl Kiara.
So crazy.
People would probably find that too weird.
They probably would. I find it hilarious. That's why I want it. It's like, look, she's pure and wholesome, and just like, no! I'm uncomfortable!
This is not the giant tall vampire lady from Resident Evil. Where is my fear boner? We'll probably talk about that tomorrow.
Yeah, we will.
Anywhooms.
Thank you very much for your question. We move on to, oh god, Ring Fit Adventure is torture.
Yes. Welcome to exercise.
Lucky has been thinking about getting Ring Fit Adventure because he needs to exercise.
Supposedly it does actually kill you, kind of, in the good way, so,
Yeah. They say, hey, Lucky and Omega, hope all is well. My question is, what servant would you want to learn from, and what would they teach you? Have a pleasant day. Oh god, my legs. Scathach.
Chiron. We've definitely answered this one before. Let us move on.
Yes. Moving on. This next one comes from BB, Best JK Kohai. Question. Jobs you think a character in an awesome focus would be good at? For example, for me is Ren would be an amazing fashion designer as all her outfits are top tier and iconic.
Which is very interesting considering her austere upbringing.
Yeah, I was about to say, doesn't she have top tier outfits because she's fucking rich and buys them? Did she make her own clothing? Did I miss that hidden lore somewhere?
Well, I mean, she isn't actually that rich. It's not until after Fate Stay Night that she actually gets her fucking patents in order and stuff.
Yeah. Thanks, Coach.
That is part of Luvia's ohohoing at Rin is that they both use gem magecraft, but Rin's fucking poor and can't afford gems. That does make some of the commentary ironic, though. But no, like, I mean, yeah, I guess Rin does have some good fashion sense. Also, have you seen, though, Heroic Spirit Tosaka, though? Like, I still want it, but, like, she's got, like, crazy weird Bayonetta heels and other shit. It's a little goofy. I don't know. There's a lot of obvious ones here. Is there any way to narrow this down? Obviously, Enya could cook.
Fergus Dentist?
Yeah, Dentist Fergus. That's practically canon. Ku canonically works in a fish market as an odd job.
I mean, if we're going by today's menu, Ku just is a fucking... He's a fucking neat. He just goes around and does odd jobs all day.
I mean, yeah, but he's still an odd jobsman. Yeah. Honestly, I think that fits his mythology very well.
He's like, yeah, I'm just gonna go from place to place, do work, hit on chicks.
Medusa would actually make a good librarian. I think she has canonically been a maid waitress before.
I believe, actually, doesn't Medusa work at a bookstore in Hollow Ataraxia? If I remember correctly?
I don't remember Hollow Ataraxia very well. There's a lot of little scenes and jokes in it which all kind of blur together.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked though.
Clearly, Medea should be a figure maker.
Oh yes, absolutely. She should absolutely Medea should run your local hobby shop.
Oh yeah. Models, figures.
That's actually relevant because Prisma came back. And that was the event where we first learned how much of a lunatic.
I mean,
dear Mini. Well, that's true. There was also her. Speaking of interludes, there was the Jason Lane interlude,
and also there was the fucking. Honestly, it might just been from the fucking carnival sketch.
Yeah, it's true. There is that carnival sketch where she collects them, but that still also blended her weird obsession with Saber in, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think we truly got the scale until the Jason Land interlude with regular Medea or Lily in Prisma Cosmos, where Tiny Jason, tell me your wisdom. Finish painting your first figurines before you buy your new figurines. A classic internet meme. But yeah, no, she would absolutely run a local hobby shop and be good at it, spooky good at it, because she's got item creation B or some shit.
It just makes me think of the skit where she gives Ichiro a fucking charm she made, and he has the best fucking luck. Oh god,
yeah, it's really good.
Man, I'm so hyped for
Power Luck Omamori.
Man, I'm so hyped for the new carnival.
Anyway.
Max, we're not talking about the sad stuff. We're talking about the good stuff. Fuck. Context.
Yeah, just cease. Well, welcome to Mythology, X. I also feel like this is a late game pitch for you to come through that way.
Yeah.
God, I'm still, every time I stop thinking about the question or answering, that niggling thought of man, I lost a thought in there somewhere. It keeps coming back to me, but I haven't figured out what thought I lost yet. It'll come back to me. I'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out. Anyway, as much as I would like to gush more about Medea, we shall not. And we will move on, so thank you very much. This next one comes from a guy who wants to save But that 5-star CE though, we really didn't talk about the new CEs for Little Big Tengu, did we? We talked about the Maeve one, but there's also a Raika one where she's being top percent mom making a fucking Kentucky doll. I'm like,
luckily
oh, no.
that is by the way, that's from a big artist in the community as well, who is well known for drawing that style of fan art. That's the event. Excuse me. Sorry, the event. Excuse me again. Jesus Christ. That's the event CE at least, so you get it in the event, which is cool. There's also possibly one of the few times Benkei has ever been on a CE and looked cool. He's just chilling.
Is that the one with Hozuin on it too?
He might be in the Hozuin, but no, I'm thinking of the 3-star one where it's just Benkei sits in a garden and drinks tea. Casual Benkei. It was Vesper's avatar for like 5 seconds before they went back. I have not shaken in my ways, by the way. I know exactly what I'm about, and my avatar will stay this way for at least a couple of weeks.
I have not changed my avatar in months because I can never get over Ikubokum.
Ikubokum. Yeah, I change my avatar and nickname a lot, so.
Actually, it's gonna be a new month. I should probably get ready for a new one. Anyway, Tonikaku.
So.
But this person says, question, hope you guys are doing fine during the extended Backstreet Boys reunion tour. I dodged getting a ticket to the show, thankfully. That's good for you. That's very good.
I do unfortunately know that some people in our community have gotten their tickets. I hope they are well.
Anyway, how would you feel if DW started to upgrade certain passes? For example, raising Hokusai's character creation from D to B, or adding more to characters with only with one, like normal Musashi. What character would you want updated like that?
So passives are usually pretty well balanced, right?
Right.
Like, at this point, we're to the point where characters are now getting unique passives to give them unique benefits so they can do stuff. Like, honestly, I think the only thing here is that, whoever... First of all, it's probably just Nasu, but heck to whoever decided Lancers don't get writing inherently. That was dumb and bad. For FGO, anyway. There are a lot of writers who don't have writing who got writing. I'm looking at you, Drake! Yeah, pirates don't normally get writing in Fate terms, but they unfucked that for FGO for some reason, but not for Lancers. But yeah, no, straight up raising a servant's passives is probably not the best idea, because they are usually pretty balanced around having the passives they have, because passives are, like a lot of things, pretty arbitrary and meaningless. I don't think anybody's ever won or lost a lore fight because they had magic resistance B+ as opposed to magic resistance C, or territory creation A over B or something. It's territory usually just pretty finely tuned. I think the only thing is just that more characters probably need independent action, and more characters probably need independent action, which raises crit, and more characters probably need writing, which raises quick. Because they've gone to a lot of steps to give characters who should have it passive, buster ups, because they decided that was madness enhancement, you know? So, I don't know. I wouldn't mind if rank up quests or interludes could do that. And actually didn't that happen to Siegfried? Doesn't he have a special passive skill?
Maybe.
I absolutely, for some reason, cannot spell things correctly, but let me... SMP... No, they just changed his default Dragon Slayer buff. Okay. I could have sworn they gave him something weird, but anyway. Lucky, thoughts?
Nah, not really.
Okay.
Head empty, thoughts gone. But speaking of that, thank you very much for your question. We move on. Is that a link in the alias? Well, I'm just gonna yeet this right out. Get on. Also, please go read what the definition of a tsundere actually is, and then see if that actually applies to the people you have listed.
Oof. That is true. It's in the rules. No links or images.
Yes. So, we move on to Merkava main watching lollies do inappropriate things and not liking it. Would you say it makes you uncomfortable? But they say, it's been a joke of mine for years that Karna is actually a magical boy, and with the Prisma rerun, I was just wondering, which servant and Chaldea would you guys think would make a good magical girl/boy, and why? P.S. Hope your stomach settles down as soon, and it's nothing serious. Ciao. That's the second chow today.
Yeah, I'm about to say, there's a lot of chows going on. It's almost like some kind of chow garden up in the air. It's a reach. So, I mean, your boy Tank, Daily Melt, did draw a magical girl Melt. I could see that. Melt does have some outfit changes, and she's very flashy.
She's very ballet, too.
a lot of people have also pointed out that Bradamante, obviously, because she's got kind of... It's much more of a, Gynax hero pose type thing, but technically she does do the thing where, like, her in her higher ascension, her outer outfit explodes off of her to go to high-speed, low-drag mode to hit people.
Huh.
So, yeah, she could be very magical. Kind of does have a transformation sequence, so I could see that. Yes. I'm trying to think. Who looks good in a tuxedo? I mean, we do technically have magical Santa Island mask and stuff like that.
I'm trying to think. I'm still on the tuxedo bit. Who do I want to see in a tuxedo? And maybe
roses.
Prince of Langling.
Well, yeah, okay. The Prince of Langling is also practically a magical girl. I think it's just a joke. I haven't actually looked at the costume that closely, but like there's a lot of fan art jokes about Summer Landling's costume dress, actually, like that he's wearing like a women's swimsuit under it. I don't actually know if that's like in detail or anything, or that's just a joke they made probably during the event at his expense because he's so beautiful it's terrifying or something. That is kind of how the Noble Phantasm works. Anyways,
Tonikaku. We're gonna move on. Thank you very much. The next one comes from Chaos Spirit, who should really come up with better name ideas. Cyrus21. They always put their name at the end. But they say, sorry about the last question's alias. It was a bit of a reference to issue I once upon a time, and made my comment in the previous video's comment to explain myself, not to clog up this one. Also, get well soon, Lucky. I'm living. My question is this. Now that DW is killing memes left and right with their animation updates, what FGO meme do you think that they will kill next?
God, there's so many, though. I don't know. I kind of hope we get Leonidas animation update, but, it could easily be Tomovich. That could be as soon as Anniversary.
I think Tsukihime collab is a big meme. That might... I said
probably? I mean, Tsukihime in general is a meme at this point.
Yeah. It is a meme to surpass all other memes.
Remake one and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Metal Gear. Sorry. Yeah, no. Tomovich, Tsukihime collab. I'd also put Extella collab in that same basket. Heckin'...
Oh, they mentioned Charlemagne a couple of times, so that's a little memey. Charlemagne.
Yeah. Let's see here. Who's left in the data mines?
Does anyone remember? Well, Kazura Drop and Violet, for instance.
I guess those are going to also be count. CCC win.
Mm-hmm. There's also Prototype Gil.
Mm-hmm.
And two Persei. Two Perseuses.
Perseuses. If Lucky had to put himself in the camp, I'd say Sakura 5 win. I want to collect the whole set. You get all 5 together, they combine the giant form of super fighting robot.
Super fighting robot. BBB. Actually, also, by the way, literally true.
Yeah. Yeah, no. But that's that. We move on. Thank you very much. This next one comes from Are Magical Girls Created Just So They Can Suffer? Yes. We have definitely seen an upswing from just cute, happy magical girls just living their best lives to cute magical girls living their best life and then suddenly thrown into dark and terrifying circumstances. Thanks, Urabuchi. What have you started?
Postmodernism.
Mm-hmm.
It's not actually realism, it's just postmodernism. Anyway, this soul has a question.
They do. Ah! Oh, that was the beeper.
That's the timer.
Alright, well, we'll finish this up since I read the alias. Hey, look at Omega. Thank you for your advice last week on whether I should advance to LB with current level servants or wait until I finish to send a few of my 5-star servants. Why did you have to... Well, I guess it does identify which question it was, but still. At the time of this question, I currently ascended 4 of my 5-star servants. My question for you is this. Has there ever been a limited CE that you missed or did not roll for some reason, but then later regretted? For me, it was Nightingale's Trick or Treatment CE, mostly because I was still new to the game, and I innately assumed that at the time I could roll it later down the line. Thank you for your time, and hope both of you have a great day. So I know one.
Go for it.
It's from Halloween 1. It's Halloween Princess. I have a copy of it, but it's not max limit broken. Now, what was the effects on Halloween Princess again? They're really good for...
On Princess, it's 50% battery and NP damage up.
Yeah, or is it MP gain up or just MP damage? I think it was MP.
MP damage, yeah. It was the prototype to Golden Sumo, basically, because Golden Sumo is attack up. Where it's just like, hey, you have 50% battery, and you do big NP.
Yeah. But I still wish I had that one because honestly, you can never have enough 50% batteries and thing. I usually, lucky as a person who very rarely keeps multiple copies of CEs. Once I get one max limit broken, it's done. That's it. I'm done. But the fact that I'm probably never going to be able to get that actually max limit broken for whatever weird strat I might want to use whenever, it hurts me. It hurts me inside. It's like, oof. Yeah, but that's that for me.
I don't think there's any event CEs that I wanted that I really missed so far. I'm trying to think. Nothing jumps to mind. There are a lot of CEs, though.
There are a lot of CEs. But thank you very much for your question. And thank you, everyone who submitted something this week. Again, I apologize if we did not get to you. We got through a fair amount, I would say.
There was a lot of people who were just doing well wishes, so we powered through a lot of stuff, but there was still, only had an hour.
Mm-hmm. But with that, the mailbag is done. So, what is beeping at me?
It's the bomb.
It's the bomb. Okay, apparently my phone just wanted to beep at me randomly. Oh, that's what Yuki Ray liked my will do. Yuki Ray being a manga artist who does J.K. Fox Tamamo-chan.
All right.
Anyway, yep.
Stretch
time. Stretch. Walk around. Get a drink of water. You're about to sit down through some shit, y'all.
We already took our break in the middle of, roughly at the halfway point, too, of Mailbag, so we don't need to take a break, but you guys might. Excuse me. So, we're done with Mailbags. It's time to do Free Talk.
Free.
So, as is usual for us, let us begin, or continue in the manner in which we began, and do New Servant Detailios. That's how it's written in my notes. Let's talk about our new welfare assassin, Kiichi Hogen, first. So, she has very high attack and HP. I think she's like in the top 5 for both categories for assassins, which is for 4-star assassins, which is pretty good. I think she might even be top 3. It's a good way to start, FGO. Got a quick Arts Buster deck, so a Lancer style deck. The average NP cane to go with good hit counts on those cards. Like she's got like it's only one Arts card, but it's like a 4-hit Arts card, so pretty decent. So the NP is a pretty basic quick AoE, which buffs quick for 1 turn, but it also strips enemies' defensive buffs. So, evade, invul, enforcement, protection, whatever Castoria has, shit like that, yeet. Just get out of here. So that's pretty cool, We've talked about earlier with Ben K. Buff strip's nice. And, this is a free NP5 package, right? So, pretty solid. Quick modifiers are the biggest, and this character gets inherent OC-based quick buff for that 1 turn, so you can do some fun stuff with chains. Her first skill gives her 2 hits of evade. Very, very glad to see this. And also another 20 to 30% quick up for 3 turns. A very basic skill, but I like it. Good durations. Second skill is a targetable 10 to 20% battery and a very, very small star weight buff. I think it's 100 to 200%, which is very tiny as far as star weight usually goes. But still, every little bit counts. Probably best used if you're running a team of servants which are all the same class or otherwise the same star weight, so you know who's getting the most of it. I don't actually know if that will, I don't know if 200% will help a berserker have more star weight than a rider. I don't actually think that's how that math works. I'm not 100% sure though, but yeah, it's small. Final skill is a team-wide 10 to 20% attack and NP gain buff. So a special charisma. It kind of benefits the character we're going for here.
What if the bonus is multiplicative instead of cumulative?
Well, if they're multiplicative, that means you could stack some stuff together. But it is. Yeah. It's for. I do believe it is still. It's only 1 turn, so you don't got a lot of time to work with it. But it could do some stuff. By the way, though, I say I'm not sure it'll work because usually, a berserker's star weight is something like 5, whereas riders have a star weight in the range of like 200. So I don't actually know if you multiply that by. Oh, actually, hold on. Yeah, 200% is what that's like times 3 total.
Mm-hmm.
So you actually want it even if you make it super cumulative or multiplicative, that's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Weird.
So, yeah, very solid skills. Her passives are Presence Concealment C, Magic Resistance EX, so very high debuff resistance, and Territory Creation B+. Again, talking about how character servants need more passives more times for balance stuff. A very solid no-nonsense AoE assassin, has merits both as a primary damage dealer, because NP5 AoE damage right there, with multiple attack buffs, but is also a supporter with team-friendly buffs and that buff strip. So, pretty solid kit, no-nonsense, no flair, doesn't do anything weird, but does good work, and is now another free-to-play unit in, as we say, our anti-asshole servant category. Not quite as crazy as I think, like Ibuki and Muramasa have been lately, but still definitely a good solid unit to be like, hey, that's a nice evade you've got there. It would be a pity if someone knocked away with a giant Tengu fan. So character-wise, I want to point out some stuff with Kiichi Hogen, because people have been asking these questions. And some of these details are still unknown. We don't actually know all of it, because she's got like 3 profiles, which are hidden behind event completion, which isn't possible right now, and also would definitely be event spoilers then, so we'll give it a pass. But based on what we know from the high level, not only is Kiichi Hogen a historical figure, actually there was a Kiichi Hogen supposedly in folklore who was a protector of the 6 arts of war, which was supposedly stolen by Minamoto no Yoshitsune. But also it appears that this one is probably a Kurama Tengu. While her female form is seen as the default one, it is explicitly noted in her profile with shit like height, weight, gender. That's all flexible. Like, I think it says, like, gender, female, right now. So, yeah, she is a high-level inhuman shapeshifter, so her physical form is completely mutable, apparently. So, yeah, this is both a historical character from a very mythologized time, and also probably just a straight-up Tengu. Also, I want to say that, at least from my impression, based on her voice lines and stuff, that Kiichi does appear to have a little bit of the big gay energy. Brings that to FGO, as she appreciates both swimsuits and compliments Lady Murasaki. But also, speaking of the gay energy, she has some very important lines for Ushi, who she calls Shana-o, and proves that canonically, Ushi did in fact seduce her daughter and steal the 6 arts of war, and then kill one of her retainers who was sent to retrieve it. So that's canon now. That's in the voice lines. Shana-o seduced at least one lady. That's probably why she's still got Brynhilde's beloved. Anyway. So, yeah, there's just some fun stuff in there, and in general, she seems like a fun character. It'll be interesting to see her. It does have some comments about drinking with you. This, I think, gives our best excuse as to why the Master still doesn't drink. If you've completed Lost Belt 5, her bond line for this is, oh, you don't know what year it is anymore, so you don't want to drink because you were a minor when this started? Man, you're too serious. You're taking this too seriously, kind of a thing. So, that at least is interesting that we're kind of advancing the story and stuff with background characters and drops. And, she seems fun.
Well, clearly we need Shizuka goes in now. Heck.
Yeah, so, next, Taira no Kagekiyo as seen in Lost Belt 5.5, an SSR Avenger. So, this is one of those things that, like, it's one of those things where this is kind of a spoiler, but also FGO absolutely is refusing to give a fuck about its own spoilers once again. So, I don't think there's any way to talk about this without talking about the quote-unquote spoiler, but also, you have Google, it's painfully obvious. You'll notice I explicitly twice listed this character's name as Taira no Kagekiyo. Yeah, it's written that way. That's not an Omega fuck-up. So, to clarify before we go any further, again about confusion, this is one of those wibbly-wobbly Lost Belt kind of a things, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Canonically, this is absolutely the body of Minamoto no Yoshitsune, aka older Ushiwaka. This is absolutely what Yoshitsune looks like. And Yoshitsune has been regarded as being very serious and no-nonsense and murder-happy. However, through Lost Belt things, Yoshitsune is possessed by Taira no Kagekiyo, who is both a historical general in the Genpei War. You may notice from the Taira, that was serving on the other side.
Yep.
Was captured at Den no Ura and was defeated at the battle before it. Its name escapes me at the moment. But anyway, another reason why he is famous, and historically he was a male retainer, is that he tried to have Yoritomo assassinated. Like, he actually tried to take the head off the snake kind of a thing.
Well, this makes a few pieces of the puzzle click a little bit.
However, it is also appears to be kind of like a Dread Pirate Roberts situation, where, like, everybody who wants to kill Yoritomo takes on the mantle of being Taira no Kagekiyo, again, much like Kiichi Hogen, it's one of those weird things where, like, the situation of the Heike Monogatari and stuff like that, like the Genpei War, is very mythologized, so I think at the same time Kagekiyo is both a normal-ass samurai retainer who is an angry ghost, but also a collection of all the angry ghosts trying to murder Minamoto no Yoritomo.
Very Avenger.
Which also, honestly, Yoshitsune fits. So, it's very, very Avenger stuff, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Big angry ghost energy. Anyway, at the very least, she has a tag where Kagekiyo gets Blackbeard's buff for female servants, so we'll say she for now. It is Yoshitsune's body. SSR Avenger, her attack is very slightly lower than Dante's, and she has the same HP, which is pretty good. So her hit counts are very low, which means her NP gain is very high. This is probably because her NP is 10 hit and quick. So, yes, people are already asking the question about loops. So, but still, yeah, she's got a very recent count. Oh, did I forget to jot that down somewhere? She is... I did, actually. I believe it's double arts. Let me check. Yeah, it's quick, arts, buster. I didn't jot that down in my notes, but yeah, so she's got a little bit of a different balance. But that's still pretty good. Again, with the NP gain is decent with 2, arts cards.
What was the card spread out again?
Quick, arts, buster.
Okay, sounds about right.
Yeah. Which I think. Yeah. Okay. So she's one of only 2. No, 3. Okay. Angra also has that deck, but who's using Angra? Am I right? No, but she has a similar deck type to your boy Hessian Lobo, up to including the NP type. There's probably some similarities there. So we got to start with her skills with the kit, because it's very important. So, hey, this is a really funny one. Skill number 1 gives her 100 to 200% damage versus Genji servants. Actually, Genji enemies, I should say.
Yeah.
Because it does apply to if you could somehow go back in time and fight Ushi Gozen again, it would count. And that's for, let me double check, that's for 3 turns, I believe? Yeah, so 3 turns of plus 100 plus 200% damage against Genji servants. Now, it's not a huge amount, but it is decent. That is Raiko, obviously, Ushi, obviously, including Taira no Kagekiyo. Trust nobody, not even yourself. But then that also includes Kintoki, Tsuna, Tomoe, Yagyu Munenori, and Benkei. So basically, any of the Genji faction and
Yagyu, I guess.
And any of their retainers. I'm going to assume Yagyu was probably a descendant.
Probably.
So I'm not 100% sure on the genealogy, but yeah, anybody who was on the Genji side in the Genpei War and any of their retainers as well. So it's not a huge buff strike zone. However, God, these guys are popular, right? How many times have you had to fight a Raiko or a Kintoki? Hell, if they do like a main interlude thing to get like Rashomon or Onigaishima, right? Like that'd be nuts. Also, ironically, it's very funny because we'll talk about some of her kit later, but I know at least one person in the server, in our Discord server, was working on Shimosa in JP and was flummoxed by Yagyu Munenori. And ironically, Kagekiyo is a great servant for that fight. Funny how time works.
Mm-hmm.
That, by the way, is only one of the things her first skill does. It also gives her a 50 to 100% crit plus for 3 turns, and is a 20 to 30% battery, and lowers all allies' star absorb for, I believe, 3 turns. So, Avengers don't have great star absorption. Not as low as Berserkers, but also not great. So, this does a pretty decent one. It reduces their amount by 100%, so I think that means it goes to 0. I'm not actually sure how the math on that works with some of these skills. But yeah, so basically, it's a pretty good way to do battery, damage plus, crit plus, I get stars.
Nom 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 crits.
Avenger powers. So the second skill, guys, wild. So, first of all, this is a flat 3-turn, 3k guts, which stacks. It's like Hijikata, it stacks. Also, I do believe Herc's guts now stacks as well. So, but yeah, it's a stackable guts, it's a new thing, which has a minimum 4-turn cooldown. You heard me that right. That is a 3k, 3-turn guts with a 4-turn cooldown. This skill, by the way, is literally called Kagekiyo Never Dies. Now, you may wonder to yourself, why on earth would they give us a 4-turn cooldown guts? Well, let me tell you. So first of all, for 3 turns, it also increases her death resistance. Pretty cool. But it also gives her a special stack skill, a timed buff, which procs when a guts is used. which forks into her NP. So we'll come back to that. But basically, Kagekiyo never dies and turns it into a damage thing later, basically, is what I want to say. So, yeah, that's pretty neat. It's wild. I love it. Oh, took a breath there. Okay. That was skill number 2. Now, skill 3 is not that crazy, but still good. It's a 2-hit evade. Love it. It's 20 to 30% attack for self for 3 turns. You know, obviously, Taira no Kagekiyo is an Avenger. She is not selfless. And also gives all enemies 500 curse damage for 3 turns. That seems kind of weird, but whatever. So, the NP. Follow me on this one, guys. This is a single target quick with 10 hits, so that's already pretty good. It is a pre-hit buff strip. That's right. This is an Abigail. Which also gains bonus damage based on those stacks called grudges, which are gained on her second skill, up to plus 200% bonus damage, 4 stacks. And pops the enemy with curse based on overcharge, which is much bigger. It's about the same as Benkei's curse levels, I think. So, yeah. Basically, the way this strategy works is you proc her guts. If she uses her guts at least once, she gets plus 25% damage. And that's plus 25% damage each time you get it. The stack lasts for 3 turns. If you can find multiple ways to put guts on her, or if she's dying a lot, you can get multiple damage stacks and do even more extra damage. I don't even know if the insta-kill resist... Somebody's talking about using the insta-kill resist to make her immune to Chen Gong. I don't know if that's how that works. I'd have to double-check, because effects like Stella and like Chen Gong's NP are kind of weird sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in general, I think the idea is they added the death resist so you can't get cheesed out of a guts or anything. Or alternatively, you cannot set up a way to easily cheese it out. But yeah, so she's got huge damage potential. Her passives are Avenger EX, which is cool from a fluff note, but is mostly just she gets even bigger NP gain on being hit. Oblivion Correction C for inherent crit damage, and Self-Replenishment D, so she gets 3% NP per turn. This is a pretty good Avenger package, guys. Like, I would say this is probably the quick Jolter tier. Like, her attack isn't as offensively ludicrous as Jolter's is, but she does do a lot of high-power stuff and absolutely has some crazy pants trait damage. And much like how you use Jolter to, like, do certain funny things with buffs because she's got buff block, Kagekiyo, like I said, has that Abigail-style pre-hit buff strip. Your buffs gives them to me. So, yeah, sounds like a really good kit. I don't think we got to it, but I think we absolutely had a mailbag question about how fucked we are next 2 years from now, Lucky. And the question is
no.
very.
Yes.
Very fucked. Because not only, first of all, you have, oh no, she's hot, but also she's really good and fun. Like, this is a great setup to murder some motherfuckers. Is a Raiko keeping you down? Fuck it. Slap some Kagekiyo on there. It's gone. She annoying you with an evade? Fuck her. She's dead. Like I said, honestly, in general, it's really funny. Kagekiyo is absolutely a big truck of a unit if you wanted to do Shimosa late, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's like 3 different servants she gets the damage bonus against. And just in general, she is an Avenger who is all about not dying. Now, I can't say for sure, like I talked about the possession angle. I have been told that Kagekiyo has 2 sets of voice lines. As of the time this is being recorded, there is no translation for her profile or voice lines that I could find on Reddit or anywhere. And nobody's, like, cross-linked me a video even. So, I don't have any details of, like, this is one of those things where, like, the Seminole version is, like, more or less Ushi than normal. I don't know. But for now, treat her as kind of sort of a separate character, but that is absolutely Big Ushi's legs and Ushi's.
Yes.
As well seen, in the 3rd Ascension tier.
Well, we ain't reaching Raiko, but Ushi wasn't lying when she said that she fills out in places when she got older.
Also, there's a lot of leg action.
A lot of leg action.
But there's also a lot of humor to be had with her first 2 Ascension designs as well. With her expressive faces and stuff. So, that's our new servants. Very interesting setup here. Great start to the year.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so let's jump into, so you didn't get that 5-star, or possibly you got a lot of that 5-star from what people were saying in the comments and things. Just Miyu edition. Again, like I said, not doing a full wanted for Miyu. It wouldn't have performed well, and wouldn't have been as fun to talk about. Cause we gotta be honest about Miyu's kit. Usually I'm pretty positive. I laughed at everyone, mocking Consort U. Vesper laughed at them harder though, cause Gave her full grails. Anyway, Miyu is a new 4-star caster. She's a special limited unit for Prisma rerun, though she does come back a couple of times. I believe she is on some class-based banners, maybe, and definitely comes back in a future anniversary update as like a special rotation. So she's got medium attack and HP. No, wrong. I'll pull it up if you want proof. No, I can't. For some reason, for once, Grand Order Wiki is on the ball and they're like up to date with Japanese stuff, but they are not current with EN stuff because they didn't link to Miyu's things. But no, like technically, she is in the 5th anniversary Lucky Bag, I think, like as a standalone raid up, because that's all limited servants from a year. So like she's technically in that pile. Well, yeah, I mean, I know it's rando, but it for purposes of like raid ups, it counts. Like there is a distinct opportunity to get her again, which, considering how GSSRs are usually handled, is actually better than most, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, there are a lot of opportunities for her to get full blown raid ups later. That would be cool at some point, JP. You know? Possibly with like a strengthening quest or interlude campaign. Just a suggestion. Anyway, she's got median attack, high HP, so decent stats for a caster setup. Quick arts buster deck, duh. Has a high NP gain to go with it. So general consensus here is that she's, well, yeah, if they do a promo for the Prisma movie, that's also an obvious one. That'll just be awkward for us over here, though, for reasons. But general consensus is that she's supposed to be kind of like an alternative 4-star to Merlin, but Delightworks did not want to go as crazy as Merlin, which I want to be fair is real. That's a valid choice, right? Because we all saw how like apeshit everybody went over Merlin in the metagame, and also Scotty later. So like some of her overall like NP opportunities are very similar to Merlin, but has a very, very strong downside. So her NP applies a buff to herself, not to ever servants, but buff to herself, which gives all your allies 10% NP per turn, gives them between 500 and 1000 HP per turn, and also gives them stars based on overcharge. It starts at like 5, but goes as high as like 20, I think. However, performing her NP costs you 3000 HP to do so. And it gives out, honestly, rookie numbers at anything less than NP5 with some overcharge. So, yeah, it's very obviously a little too budget, because, like, if you get her to NP5, right, then in 3 turns, she heals back the damage she took off her own NP. If you can keep her alive, which is not super hard with some of her skill set, she recovers the HP. You've probably gained enough NP because you've gained like 30% per turn, and you've been doing arts cards and stuff, right? She can probably fire her NP again, heal it back, etc. It's a arts stall and grind strategy, except she's a limited 4-star who's only got like a couple of opportunities to roll her, period. NP5 is not a good number. Lucky only barely broke out with like 150 quartz to get NP1.
Yeah,
without busting out his wallet. I know several people who have struggled harder to get NP1. So yeah, it's not the best assist. So hopefully she gets like an NP interlude or a rank up that either removes or decreases the demerit or really amps up her numbers. Like I think if you doubled her base healing so that at NP1 she could always at least recoup the damage over 3 turns, and then at higher levels of NP she can actually get a net gain on HP, that would probably be fine. Maybe buff up the amount of overcharge her stars per turn get. Because remember, this is a buff that goes on Miyu. If she dies, you lose the effect of her NP, which is kind of why it's annoying. But she's also not like crazy bad or anything. She still does stuff. So, let's talk about that stuff. So, first skill gives herself a 3 turn of 20 to 30% arts and 3 hits, 3 turns of crit damage. So, pretty good. She's got 3 arts cards. You want arts crits to build NP. Gives her a decent roll in some off damage dealing. Second skill gives her a 1k to 2k guts, which is decent, and 1 hit of debuff immunity. So, not too bad. And her final skill is a targetable 20 to 30% battery and also a 20 to 40% buff success rate. Obviously meant to complement Ilya without needing to bring a Chloe along. But also could be useful to a lot of other servants. Plus, 30% targetable battery is not bad. Passive is just magic resistance B, and then she has a similar unlimited energy supply to Ilya and gets 4% NP per turn. So she can kind of do some stuff as an off-meta arts hitter, right? She's got a guts, so she can live through some things if you've got some other healers. She has arts and crit up. She has a targetable battery and buff success rate, which is great. It's just that because of her NP, it's not super well supported, like her doing damage on her own. And she definitely cannot afford to spam her NP, which is kind of the unfortunate thing. But her kit is not bad, but she's definitely one of the few units that, like, really needs a rank up to iron out some overbalance problems. Now, I'm convinced that they will eventually take that route, but it's...
When? Who knows?
Yeah, when? Who knows? It's still open-ended, and for now, like I said, she's not, like, a complete waste of space or anything. Dude, 30%, 20 to 30% targetable battery. That's great. I love that. On casters? Perfect. Great. It's just that her kit isn't very synergistic yet. Like, if her arts and crit buff was, like, team-wide, perfect. Great. I love it. But it's just on her, so that's a little awkward with a non-damage NP. Okay. So that's our various new servant details and things.
Mm-hmm.
How long is the mission clock? Just under 2 hours. Just under. Though obviously there will be some editing. So, I don't know how much that's going to stay in the final edit, but I popped my knuckles.
I heard something.
Alright, guys, it is the last show of January 2021. Oh, wait, no, it's not. We got another one. We got the 29th.
Yeah,
Why'd I do all this work early?
I don't
Probably
know,
because
boy.
I need to do the pregame next week. That's why. Yeah. Wait a minute, me. Past Omega's yelling at Future Omega now. He's like, I planned this for you. Listen, I spent several hours doing this today, okay? I felt very slightly cross-eyed by the end of it, so if I'm a little shocked still, that's it. But we're here for Teach Me Omega Sensei. It's all written. The show's only 2 hours long. We'll do it. Let's get it out of the way. If we'd had a really super long show, maybe I could have pushed it back, but nah, we'll do something else next week, so we're getting in here. So, as obviously predicted and as mentioned, I believe last week, because that was after the poll closed, the thing that won was, what are dead apostles / true ancestors? You'll see why I didn't call this what are vampires later, because that would have been a dumb question. Alright, I have 2 caveats and fair warnings to get out of the way. First of all, you guys need to understand, this is going to get a little technical and confusing, and it's going to rely on touchstones to stuff you only understand or have seen if you follow Tsukihime, and also some things which are just outright not correct in the Fate version of the timeline. Literally, there is a split between Fate worlds and Tsukihime worlds, and a lot of our knowledge on this subject comes from Tsukihime worlds only, and literally doesn't work in Fate worlds, but for some reason, Nasu just doesn't do the crossover and explain fucking anything. This leads me to my second point I want to say. It's gonna sound, at certain points, like I'm dogging on Tsukihime. I apologize if you get that impression. I'm really not. I don't have anything against the Tsukihime narrative. It's just that there's a lot of convoluted backstory and world building to Tsukihime, which I have to unpack because that's basically the only time some of this stuff has ever been mentioned. And like I said, Nasu really hasn't gone back to clarify how this interacts with other parallel world lines or how any of this actually, like, interrelates even to more Nasuverse stuff we know. I'm actually really hopeful that the Tsukihime remake maybe takes some opportunity for Nasu to clear up some of his language and more explicitly compare, Magic A with Magic A type of a thing, okay? Now, that all said, I have attempted to avoid too much cross-referencing, like too much, focusing solely on Tsukihime stuff that doesn't matter to us at all, and cut through some of the bullshit, but there's still going to be some unclear results in here, okay? Like, there will definitely be some 404s, data not found. Alright, now that I've given you the caveats to my 4 pages of research, let us begin. So at a high level, much like Spirit, Dragonkin, even the phantasmal species, calling something a vampire or a bloodsucker is a broad classification for basically anybody who drinks blood. Hell, I think this is so loose that if you right now, sir, go and drink some human blood, you just grab a blood bag out of your blood fridge, everybody has one of those, right? And just slurp it down, you will be a bloodsucker in Nasuverse. This is why Medusa is called a bloodsucker or vampire, for instance. And, yes, this means that calling anything a vampire is mostly useless. That's why Nasu made up dumb new words. Guys, I gotta tell you, like I said, I don't feel like I'm dogging on Tsukihime too hard, but I am absolutely gonna dog on Nasu a little bit. This is just, this is a trip, okay? This is just so much stuff. So, the 2 most well-known classes of vampires are true ancestors and dead apostles, who share some common traits and will be spending the bulk of our text talking about, but there's also numerous phantasmal species who are vampiric, and there are even some heroic spirits who are vampires thanks to mystery. Sion drinks blood in FGO but isn't a vampire, I guess. That was stated somewhere. So, like, it's a thing. Vampires exist. I mean, I guess you drank human blood, even if it's your own. If you accidentally slurped some nosebleed blood or something, or bit your lip, you're a vampire now. Cool.
Cool. That's how it works.
So, the common point between our two big vampire clades is vampiric impulses and the curse of restoration. Yes, those involve capital letters. So, vampiric impulses is just their compulsion, their need to drink blood. It's not very complex. We'll talk about it later when we get into the specifics, but yeah, that's it. That is a thing both dead apostles and true ancestors share. They need to drink blood. Curse of restoration is their vampiric immortality. Their body constantly reverts time, that's the way it's phrased anyway, back to their previous vampiric state whenever they are injured. But the speed and power of this reversal is based on the phases of the moon. So, the full moon is the height of their power and the height of their ability and speed to revert. So, it's funny, like, in my notes reading, nobody ever explicitly mentions the new moon, but I assume if you want to roll over a vampire, you should do it on new moon, because their abilities will be at their shittiest. But yeah, basically, and the reason why I point out the vampiric state thing is because I assume these notes I read are referring to the fact that, no, if you are made into a vampire, your curse of restoration doesn't reverse time so far back you stop being a vampire. Duh. That's apparently a thing you need to do when you phrase it as reversing time, as opposed to just they fucking regenerate. I don't know, Nasu. Okay? By the way, though, this does actually mean this comes up when talking about stuff like dead apostles and true ancestors. Technically, they aren't, like, outright immune to mundane weapons. It's just that they usually reverse all damage by the time anything takes effect. So, it's wild. So, dead apostles. These are the more common form of vampire, and they are artificially created. They either come from a human who becomes a vampire through magecraft, or they're converted by another vampire, a true ancestor or another dead apostle. Okay, so it's pretty standard vampire shit. You become a vampire. So, dead apostles, sometimes I just call them DAs, have enhanced reflexes, speed, and senses, but a lot of their power just comes from living long lives to let them refine their human living abilities. So, hypothetically, anybody who lives a really long immortal life can display similar skills. They do have the ability to grow vampire fangs and claws as needed, though. Also, like, I'm not sure, I don't know if this is just one of those weird Nasu things, but, like, it sounded like from some of the notes that, like, technically the idea was that, yeah, while they are supposed to be, like, super fast and strong, anybody who lives a long time can become super fast, but stuff like they can smell the alcohol content of your blood, that's just not possible. That's not how humans work. This is like you go crazy if you smoke the super weed in Kara no Kyokai. That's just not how it works. So, I assume there's some level of magic vampire bullshit in here. Now, this immortality time frame, right, which gives them a lot of time to perfect their skills and training, also means they get to refine any magecraft they know, which is the source of freaky and specific vampire powers come in. So if you ever meet a vampire who has a weird, niche, unique ability, it's probably a form of magecraft they developed over a long, long-ass time. Dead apostles also commonly develop mystic eyes of enchantment, and they also typically learn consciousness transfer spells and powerful bounded fields as well. So they're good at bounded fields, they're good at transferring their consciousness to other bodies, so they can do the usual, haha, you only killed a minion thing, etc. Now, the cost for all of this is that their vampiric bodies exceed their vampiric powers, are greater than their originally human cells, so they are constantly breaking down and turning to ash, all the time, constantly, forever. Exposure to sunlight and running water rapidly hastens this process, hence why vampires die in sunlight. Only by drinking fresh blood can they regenerate themselves, actually getting to keep their immortality. Otherwise, their engine is too strong for the car chassis they're in, and it just explodes out the front, and their body dies and turns to ash. So, blood of virgins works best for this because it's quote-unquote pure, but the reason for this is not like a metaphorical thing, it's because you haven't diluted your blood by mixing your bodily fluids with another human, so I guess this also means that people who have gotten transfusions or organ donations don't count? I don't know. I feel like this was, remember, because Tsukihime was an Arrow J, this was trying to be a different thing, but also it doesn't make any logical sense, because I guess Nasu didn't want to make it actually significant. It was kind of weird. But vampires can also eat animals even, so it doesn't even matter that much. They can eat any blood. But pure blood is cooler! It's that good shit. It's like Coke with real sugar. Additionally, my note here, by the way, my single bullet point is holy stuff fucks their shit up. It does, okay? Yeah, no, it's there. Dead apostles are also real keen on familiars. That might actually need to be a separate point, because that comes up a lot. But basically, they can get blood from familiars, and they make a lot of them. They can possess a lot of animals as familiars, including some phantasmal species. But also, if they stop from completely consuming a human's blood, basically, if all your blood comes out, you basically turn into a mummy, as you might expect. But if they stop and don't drink literally all your blood, they just wait till they kill you, they can turn you into a mindless animated corpse familiar just called the Dead. Again, that's
Capitals.
all capital letters. Yeah. So this is where zombie-like mooks come from in Natsuverse vampire stories. Dead apostles are also supposed to be able to deny noble phantasms, but only those wielded by living humans or made by gods for humans to use. Actual heroic spirits wielding recreations of their ancient mysteries or divine constructs that are actually used by gods are still fair game. I assume this was an early Fate Stay Night note that Nasu basically soft retcon because it was dumb. If Artoria using Excalibur hits a dead apostle, he still probably dies. I also don't know how this would apply to, like, Shiro projecting a noble phantasm because he's just a normal dude. I don't know. That's theory crafting for a later time, which technically shouldn't happen anyway, because in a Tsukihime universe with strong dead apostles, there's no way any Shiro would exist.
I feel like this is a strange fake.
It could have come up in Strange Fake because there's some shenanigans, or it could just be like one of Nasu's many off-camera interviews in magazines where people ask him dumb lore questions, and I am 100% sure he makes it up on the spot.
Well,
let me actually see if I can see where this discussion is sourced.
Because a bit of a Strange Fake, but there is definitely a scene in Strange Fake where a bunch of humans wielding recreated noble phantasms fight against a dead apostle. So this lore bit might come from there.
Yes. Thank you, Type Moon Wiki. You have not sourced this fact at all. There's no citation. So, I don't actually know when that was added to the lore. So, Lucky may be correct there. So that might be like a late tier Narita thing for like how they connect. Mm-hmm. For how it works, it's actually pretty simple. That's a power of Alexander Dumas, is he can, I believe it is the exact same skill that Shakespeare has, that he has enchant. Mm-hmm. So he can basically write low-level noble phantasms just any asshole can use. Mm-hmm. Narrative convenience. Anyway, so like, it just seems like one of those weird... It comes up for one of those weird excuses because, as you'll see later, dead apostles are supposed to be better than humans, bruh. So like, normies can't kill them or something, except normies totally can kill them. Because church normies are cool. I don't know. Like,
Well, you gotta remember... Rule 1 in Nazuverse, there are rules to everything. And then there's rule 2. There's always exceptions to the rule.
Yeah, no, like, I can come to the conclusion right now and basically tell you, unfortunately, a lot of this vampire lore shit basically seems to be like an excuse where, Nasu, just in his weird science fantasy storytelling, loves creating horrific, inhuman monsters who are, like, literally beyond your ken, stronger than every person on Earth ever. There's no possible way you can win. And then the hero just goes, no way, bruh, I'm too cool. And he wins anyway. Like, there's just so many Fate stories work like that, and it's just so weird where, like, just don't write your villains as immortal, because then you have to come up with dumb ass pulls for why you beat him anyway. It's just, I don't know.
Well, honestly, looking at it, it seems like so far is Nasu has just come up with very convoluted ways to explain normal vampire shit.
Yes, some of this is just, how do I explain normal vampire tropes in my setting? But there are also, like the Noble Phantasm thing is, there's a lot of weird, specific Nasuverse stuff, which I feel just exists to be like somebody asked Nasu a dumb question in a magazine interview, and he literally made it up on the spot. I'm not shocked, by the way, if that happens. I bet it does. Nasu just says some shit, and we take it as gospel forever.
Death of the after people.
And then just go on there. Anyway, let us continue. There's a couple more steps for Dead Apostles. So the process for creating a Dead Apostle is a bit complex. The short version is that people who are fed upon and given some of a vampire's blood or otherwise exposed to vampiric transformation, most of them just die. The process of being exposed to this transformation kills your body and soul immediately. At best, you become one of the dead, if you don't just become a desiccated corpse. But, talking about exceptions, if a person has a lot of will or potential power in their soul, so if you're a protagonist or something, your body refuses to completely die and so retains your soul. This person becomes a ghoul. A ghoul is functionally dead until their brain degrades enough to let their soul go, Then they arise as a mindless undead who eats dead flesh to regenerate themselves. Once they consume enough dead flesh, their brain regenerates, so their soul once again gets anchored to their body. So I guess death isn't permanent. And they go back to full consciousness and jump straight to a full vampire-type creature. Extraordinary people might skip the ghoul process and go straight to vampirism. Which is important because the way this is originally described is this is a process that takes fucking forever. You literally have to lie dead in the ground for months, if not years, until your brain rots. Then your undead ghoul corpse jumps out of the ground to eat more corpses. And after years of eating corpses, you come back to become a regular vampire. This process sounds horribly inefficient. I have no idea how something that reproduces so slowly are supposed to be a threat to humans. Anyway.
Well, I guess you have enough of them running around.
Yeah, there is a little bit. We'll talk a little bit of the backstory for some of this, but there's a little bit of a jumpstart problem in this population. Anyway.
Yeah.
But also, again, exceptions. Some people are just vampires. So, in Tsukihime worlds, the coolest and oldest dead apostles are called the Dead Apostle Ancestors and form the secret vampire conspiracy related to stuff to do with the true ancestors and the Tsukihime backstory and stuff that doesn't exist properly in Fate. Literally doesn't, by the way. One of the members of the Dead Apostle Ancestors, even though he's not actually a vampire, is primate murder. So, we know how that works.
Yeah.
Just cut to Foe, just looking slightly confused. Foe? Yeah, like that. Wild.
Oh!
Honestly, I'll have some discussion for, like, how and why I think Tsukihime worlds and Fate worlds are differing. Like, we know how they differ, where it's the, like, strong and weak counterforce theory, but I have some theory crafting based on what we know to explain kind of, like, why some characters are different and how that relationship plays out. We'll come back to this. But the Dead Apostle Ancestors as, like, the secret cadre of vampire uberlords don't exist in Fate. In Fate worlds, really old, cool, powerful Dead Apostles are just called Superior Dead Apostles instead. And some of these guys have been around for a long time. They've been around since the Age of Gods. So, yeah, there's definitely some slight differences, but some of these characters exist in both timelines. I think it's mostly just an issue of, like, they're not as organized in Fate worlds, and they don't have this big, long backstory event we're gonna, talk about in detail later. Now, DAA tier vampires have crazy high abilities. They often have reality marbles. They are capable of surviving as wraiths even if their bodies are destroyed. That doesn't sound like anybody I know. And they can even fight servants with how high their powers are. They're also known to be able to resist sunlight, so they can go outside during the day. However, all of this comes with a big appetite. Basically, offset all the extra years they've gained, they need to drink a lot of blood. At least one DAA tier vampire was said to have a meal when he actually chooses to eat humans. He has a meals of hundreds of people at a time.
Jeez.
So, yeah, your caloric intake, crazy. Get a cough out. Okay. Now, here's another weird trip, but also may fit into your normal understanding of vampires. Dead Apostle vampirism is basically a pyramid scheme. If you achieve full boy vampire status, your abilities and form are based on your vampiric sire, and they express a degree of control over you. This means that a majority of the blood you collect has to be given to your sire. This in turn causes the child vampire to want to become a parent vampire, and so the cycle continues. That's right. In Nasuverse, canonically, vampirism is a Ponzi scheme. Kind of explains why vampires are so keen to keep making more vampires and fucking shit up. It forms a bloody great pyramid. Now, true ancestors are not humans at all, but are a kind of incarnated nature spirit created by Gaia. Gaia, who is the embodiment of planet Earth and part of the counterforce, desired to control humans who were getting out of hand and fucking up nature with their separation from gods and Mother Earth and stuff. Which is a little... I mean, I guess we were kind of doing that, but this is one of those weird timeline things where it makes it sound like this happened a long, long-ass time ago, but I'm like, I don't know, were humans really fucking up the environment that bad, like, back in 0 BC or 2000 BC or whatever? I don't know.
Maybe they just weren't playing by the rules that Gaia had set.
It's true. Humans are quickly becoming the dominant creature on this planet, which is weird.
Hey, check out this fire! It's cool! Now this tree's on fire! Awesome. Let's set more shit on fire.
Gaia vibrates in the background.
Pretty much.
So, now, for reasons which I don't think are ever actually explained, this is just one of those, trust me guys, this is just how it is for the story. Gaia couldn't actually create something on the scale of the true ancestors on its own, her own, whatever, however that works. Which, I mean, I guess kind of makes sense because we do know that, like, there are fairies and stuff which are powerful, but maybe are not as powerful as Gaia wants. Anyway, so Gaia asked for help from the other Planet Soul embodiment dudes. Oh yeah, I'm skimming through this a lot here, by the way.
Oh
yeah, we're not...
we're skipping types, y'all.
We're skipping some stuff. But, did get a holoback from the ultimate one. Different subject. We'll maybe come back to that. Not right now, guys. Of the moon. Crimson Moon Brunstead, a.k.a. Type Moon. Yes, Type Moon is a guy, but is also a waifu later. It's complicated. We are not really discussing that right now. That is literally the plot of Tsukihime, and is not what this Teach Me is about.
If we do get that Tsukihime collab, I will yell at Omega that we will need to do what is Tsukihime.
At that point, we will probably need to explain some high-level shit from Tsukihime, because I bet the collab's not gonna. Anyway, so that's where they come from. Gaia gets some help from the Ultimate Moon Man, and they make vampires together.
Yeah.
So the results are a transcendent kind level phantasmal species, or a planet level spirit, who's even bigger and stronger than divine spirits. My next note is, man, how much vampire dick can Nasu suck? Listen, there's a lot of vampire power wank, which is immediately done away by how easily they job if the story wants it to. It's just...
What kills me is, like, are we even in the realms of vampires now? Why?
Yeah, I don't know why vampires are supposed to be this strong. Like, obviously some of this is because so Arcuid can be a really, really strong heroine character and do a lot of dumb stuff. But also, like, why though?
Like I would have accepted this as yeah, you think she's a vampire, but no, she's actually something else bigger and scarier. But just because of you are basically putting her in the box that, you know, you want her, you think she's a vampire.
Consequently, by the way, spoilers, this is almost exactly what we're going to talk about when we talk about Yume Ren. Anyway.
Yeah.
There's just, like I said, there's a lot of weird power rank with vampires that I really don't understand because you don't have to, like, inflate them to that strong just to strike them back down. I don't know. I guess Nasu, like, some of this strikes me as Nasu did the, like, first year writing trap where he dug himself into a hole where his antagonists are too powerful, the protagonists literally can't stop them, or his protagonists are too powerful that stakes literally don't matter. This is often a problem in writing. You gotta watch out for this. And
actually, I would say that
loop himself out of the corner somehow.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I would also say this is also kind of a trap of Japanese style writing to begin with. They very much like the super big problem that you need, you know, spirits and guts to overcome, you know, against all fucking odds.
And if you like, that's the, you know, the fucking Momotaro type story. Weird peach boy and animal friends beats up an entire island of Oni.
Yeah.
Which is a metaphor for America.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, no, this is one of those things where I think maybe we stepped a little too far on our power scaling, and because Nasu is Nasu, he never likes to roll anything back.
No, just go further beyond.
Gil's the strongest, guys. Anyway, so, true ancestors are super cool. They can regenerate way faster than dead apostles, guys. And they're born with power, speed, and endurance beyond humans and stuff. They also have Mystic Eyes of Enchantment as well as the Marble Phantasm ability. Remember, Marble Phantasm is kind of the inverse of a Reality Marble. A Reality Marble is the ability to turn all marbles in a jar to white. A Marble Phantasm is the ability to always pick the one white marble. Also, they have claws and stuff, guys. While they're supposed to... So, here's the funny thing. So, true ancestors are supposed to be immune to, like, most conceptual weapons and stuff. We talked about that before in the swords one. But also their immunities are shut off by something as common as fucking black keys. Literal, mass-produced, disposable weapons. It's so weird, guys.
Well, maybe, like I said, you don't see black keys outside the church, so I'm assuming it's something...
it is definitely a thing where, like, no, this is a specific, like, holy magecraft thing, but also, just think about black keys, right? Like, I'm pretty sure, like, a lot of church characters' basic combo strings and, like, Melty Blood is throw black keys at stuff.
Well, yeah, I was...
So it's a funny counterpoint to, like, they're normal to everything except black keys, which are literally disposable.
Honestly, to be fair, I think that's in the same vein as, like, yeah, I'm great at not taking damage unless someone shoots me with a gun. Because, you know, bullets.
Well, and to be fair, that is better than Dead Apostles. I mentioned this earlier. You could technically kill a Dead Apostle with a gun if you shot him enough times and his regen was low. It's just that they're super fast and smart and have lived for a bajillion years, so usually they don't let you shoot them with a gun.
Well, like I said, but
I'm pretty sure a true ancestor would not flinch if shot with a gun.
probably not. No.
But they're like real proper immortal. They're immune to death perception and everything at full moon and stuff. So like, yeah, this is a roller coaster of trying to balance the narrative, right? So like it's very much the thing where like, okay, our protagonists or antagonists, because it really does depend on the roots of Tsukihime how this shapes out. But our protagonists, our agonists, can't be too strong, otherwise the story is dumb. So we have to come up with some excuses. But we don't want it to be easy, right? Yeah, no, it's not crazy, but it's definitely a thing that like sticks out a little bit more than some of the Fate stuff. Also, they can get powered up by the counterforce to basically rank up their abilities when fighting, but this can be negated by cutting them off from the world via Reality Marble, or a really powerful bounded field. So, yeah, no, they literally get the counterforce boost as well. Because golly gee willikers, it's almost like the counterforce is like the two energies of Gaia and Alaya working on stuff at the same time. Sometimes different stuff.
Sometimes together, sometimes in the same direction, sometimes in opposite.
Which it brings us to our next point. Alaya doesn't really bother the true ancestors too much because while they are meant to be a natural counterbalance to humans and exist in nature, they also aren't technically meant to drive humans to extinction. Like, they're supposed to just be kind of a come-to-Jesus measure to bring humans back in line. Which
it's,
obviously,
checks
Go ahead, Lucky.
I was about to say checks and balances.
Yeah, it's a checks and balances system. Gaia realized that nothing that existed on Earth would actually balance humans, so they made vampires. Though, obviously, while vampires are still stupid strong in Tsukihime, they also did not necessarily do anything to actually balance us out, so it's kind of funny how everything works out.
Gaia just sighs in the background. Just hand in face.
Goes back to making more things.
Mm-hmm.
So, true ancestors are humanoid in appearance because, one, they are based on the Crimson Moon, who, despite being an ultimate one of the fucking moon, look like a dude. I don't know, maybe because he's the man in the moon? I don't know. But also because they are meant to rule over humans and interact with them. So, unlike some other types of nature spirits and fairies and stuff, they do actually have a physical humanoid form. They are incarnated spirits. However, because they are modeled on the Crimson Moon to become the collective ultimate one, the most superior being on Earth, they possess his vampiric impulses. So for ancestors, this is not a physical need like dead apostles. Like I said, dead apostles literally need to drink flesh blood, or they will literally turn to ash, right? True ancestors do not need to. They have a psychological need to feed on the creatures of the earth. They can suppress or control their bloodlust, but if they let it go on for too long before they eat, they go full-blown freak out. Pretty typical vampire shit. To avoid this, most of them take your typical vampiric big nap, aka torpor. It's not actually called torpor by Nazi, but it's torpor. It's the thing where vampires take naps.
I'm thinking White Wolf.
Oh yeah, no, I absolutely took that from torpor. Like, here's the thing. There's a lot of commonality in vampire fiction, and I don't know if White Wolf RPGs are big over in Japan, but it would not shock me if Natsu cracked open a copy of Vampire the Masquerade sometime. Now, true ancestors who go full blood boner are called demon lords. These are completely unrelated to any actual demons and or lords. But they basically have to be taken out by other true ancestors or dead apostles. They should probably all be dead mostly by modern times. Probably. So, another obvious caveat here is that since true ancestors are desired by the planet and not by humans, as humans continue to become more and more of a dominant species on Earth, they are bound to naturally decline and fade from the observable world, like all other cool magic things.
Damn it!
So this explains why, despite the fact that they're meant to bully humans, there are still not a lot of vampires by the time we get to Tsukihime. That and backstory stuff that we're not going into. Crimson Moon, BT dubs, was an asshole and tried to crash the moon into the Earth, but Zeltrich booped his snoot pretty hard with the second magic, so now he is dead in all continuities.
Also, this is why Zeltrich might have immortal powers.
Yeah, he may or may not be a vampire, depending on your timeline. But no, it is confirmed no matter what that Zeltrich did absolutely boop his snoot no matter what continuity we're in. Again, talking about that Nasu thing, right, where, like, he's the ultimate one of the moon. He created the ultimate predator mankind. What can stop him? One crazy magic boy with a special capital M magic. Who did also dodge the fact that Crimson Moon did try to shoot the moon at us. Now, why was the ultimate one of the moon of a blood-sucking vampire king? The world may never know. I do actually believe from my research this is not explained. It's just the ultimate one of the moon is the king of all vampires. Fuck, man. I don't know. Like, Nasu may have gotten a little all in on the type moon thing before.
I'm pretty sure that the type moon thing, but it also just he just like, all right, I need a cool, mysterious object that's omnipresent, like, throughout arms. And he just, like, looks outside, the moon. And maybe he didn't want to go with the obvious werewolf trope.
Yeah, no. Because vampires were also classically, because werewolf things are like, honestly, much like vampires, werewolves are like a very loosely collection of folklore and legends. But there is no actual Dracula. There's no Bram Stoker of the Wolfman.
No.
So the vampires got their shit together a lot earlier than Wolfman did. This is also probably, by the way, why werewolves are so fucking weird in fiction. It's because there's no actual codified trope for them.
Nah, you just got children's stories, big hunter stories, and then just family. But yeah, no, I just feel that Nasu's like, all right, I don't want to do the usual science fiction, so instead of werewolves, fucking vampires.
Yeah, no, like it makes sense. It's just that like it was very obviously a thing where I think he was going all in on this moon theme, and then was like, fuck, it's about vampires. How do I explain this with my weird terminology? I guess the ultimate one of the moon was a vampire guy? I don't know. Now, here, that's right here is where shit gets complicated. Not before, right here. So in Tsukihime, everything I have told you before is definitely true. Plus, the original Dead Apostles, who go on to form the Dead Apostle Ancestors, are created by the true ancestors as emergency blood bags and soldiers to control the demon lords. But they get tired of doing this and go on to do their own thing, thus beginning the Vampire Conspiracy Pyramid. This ultimately leads to some very complicated backstory shit in Tsukihime we are not going into. However, in Fate, not all of these elements are confirmed, so we have to make some inferences why certain aspects of vampire society and some characters are not overtly present, but others are. It's weird. Like how Da Vinci knows what the fuck a true ancestor is. Right? That's pretty wild if you think about it. How do we know what they are if there shouldn't be true ancestors? Well, that probably means there are true ancestors. Anyway, we have a couple of explicit mentions of them in Fate from what I found besides our obvious continuation. In Heaven's Feel, Rin outright mentions that Zeltrich still beat up Crimson Moon. So, he still existed in the Fate worlds, and possibly created true ancestors, since, as I mentioned before, characters in LB3 seem to realize what a true ancestor is. So, we can check that in the probable column. It is, however, still canon. Zeltrich did beat up Crimson Moon. If you want to have that, my Magic Space Dad can beat up your Magic Space Dad fight. Now, also, in a bit that doesn't make any fucking sense, Arcade herself, the true ancestor who is closest to being a new Crimson Moon lady guy, the bestest, coolest true ancestor, shows up in Fate Extra as a berserker, where her powers are very limited to the fact that she's on the moon and is an earth elemental, and is also a berserker, because she should be really, really OP normally. But she's probably visiting from an alternate timeline or something like bonus boss for Yogishiki, because it's also noted that she cannot possibly be native to any timeline where the moon cell exists. Well, that is categorically not doable.
Well, honestly, the moon cell is a super, like I say, we gotta remember, everything that happens in moon cell is basically made up of data. Maybe the moon cell literally just got data of Arcuate.
Yes, I do believe that is suggested that she could be a data creation of the moon cell. I do believe, though, that if you do her route, I think she's in the Ronnie route, not the Rin route, but if you do that boss fight after you beat her up and her master dies or whatever, she's just like, she wakes up from her madness and is like, cool, I'm out, bye, and leaves. Which would lend credence to the alternate timeline thing. But yeah, no, it's like, it was probably just a joke to, like, remind everybody that Nasu remembers that Tsukihime exists, but it's also very confusing.
We also gotta say, jokes are deepest lore.
Yes. And if you want to know why it's not possible, refer back to our previous Teach Me, where I actually discussed what the moon cell is. It's just, they don't work out. So, yeah, confusion.
Future man, a dead planet.
So, how do we get to where we are in Fate, then, right? Mm-hmm. How do we get from here to there, even though we know that some of the things are not true between the two universes? Okay, so my best guess, and like I said, I have not been able to find a firm confirmation explaining this, but my best guess is that Gaia did still collab with Crimson Moon to create true ancestors, or at least some high-level vampiric spirits, because Fate worlds, they're explicitly called this, by the way, like I said earlier, Nasu breaks them up into Fate worlds and Tsukihime worlds, and some worlds that are neither. Excuse me. But the rule of Fate worlds, they are based in the affirmation of human history. This means that human order is much stronger in these timelines and allows the connection to the Throne of Heroes, and makes Alaya much stronger. So this probably means that true ancestors declined much more rapidly or had to take their big naps sooner. Dead apostles are probably still based on them, but they're not part of a direct vampire society, which is why there's no dead apostle ancestor squad. Basically, probably true ancestors couldn't build their whole weird vampire kingdom bullshit, which required our Council of Secret Vampires or whatever. Wild Boy stuff. To look at it in another way, and to refer back to some of our conversation on holy and demonic swords, and the triangle of myths. If true ancestors or dead apostles are meant to be inherently superior to mankind, if they're meant to beat mankind up and terrorize them and stuff, that makes them fall into the category of demons or monsters. Demons or monsters are intrinsically defeated by heroes. So, if you have a timeline, a world line, where heroes are stronger and heroic spirits can be summoned forth by the counterforce, vampires inherently have to take a back seat.
Yeah.
Like, that's my basic logic. We understand now there is that triangle of between man, heroes, and monsters. So, that means that if vampires beat up humans, they have to fall in the monster category. Also, they are vampires, so it makes sense. Now, Tsukihime worlds are defined by the blank of human history. Literally, it's one of those things where Nasu scrubbed it out with black boxes. So I don't know what the fuck joke he's getting at. Maybe it'll be in the Tsukihime remake. Anyway, they're meant to star dead apostles, true ancestors, and vampire-adjacent characters. So obviously, heroic spirits have to take a back seat. This means that heroic spirits just showing up to kick their ass isn't possible. I wrote a snide comment here about so much for being ultimate, indestructible, and immortal and stuff, huh? If we have to make it so you can't summon heroic spirits for them to exist. But yeah, I think that's just the long and short of it, is that if the system of the ritual, like to summon the Grands, for instance, I'm pretty sure Grand Servants dunk on definitely all dead apostles and probably a lot of true ancestors as well, just by virtue of being, heroic spirits meant to come together to beat up something capable of punching the lights out of all humanity, you know?
Well, yeah, just the way that it understands it right now is, I guess the big difference is just because the fact that we can summon heroes means that there's always someone out to fight the big bad monster, therefore the big bad monster can't get a foothold, therefore eventually declining even further while humanity only prospers.
Yeah. It's kind of a counterbalance thing. Yeah. It's weird to see how that arms race goes back and forth. Gaia tries to create something to keep humans in check, but human spirit can't be kept down, so we keep growing back. So let's cap this off, because the reason why this topic came up is because, hey, there's a lot of rigmarole in Lost Belt 3 about Yume Ren. It confused a lot of people in Japan, and obviously still had some people curious in English. So in the English script, as far as I can recall, she's referred to with the shorthand of being a true ancestor. The JP script and in her actual materials profile translation, which I have double-checked, and it is out, it clarifies that while she's like them, she's not exactly one. And honestly, from following my big long explanation, you should hopefully see why. While Yume Ren obviously possesses some form of the Curse of Restoration, her body regenerates immediately and flows backwards to being whole after exploding itself, she does not have a vampiric impulse. Draining the energy of living things is something she can even do, and apparently it can even extend to plants. Like, she is able to just drain energy from stuff that is alive. She is at no point required to drink blood. In fact, Lanling has to even talk her into doing it. Yu is specifically referred to in her profile notes, and also even in chapter by ya boy Mothman, as a Genren, a true human, or as an immortal in the Taoist sense. So, like a true ancestor, Yume Ren is a powerful, immortal, humanoid spirit who can drain life energy and is pretty good at kicking human ass, but is not bound by their normal limitations involving moon stuff or vampiric impulse. For instance, she fights us in the daylight several times and doesn't seem bothered at all. And I don't think true ancestors, explode in sunlight, but it does sound like because their powers are linked to the moon, some of their abilities are more limited when it's daylight. Even though moonlight is just reflected daylight, I don't know. Fantasy. So, the way I see this is we can interpret this a few ways. Either, Genren or other immortal bloodsuckers were created by the planet to basically serve the same function as true ancestors, i.e. Gaia keeps trying to replicate the experiment, or in Fate Worlds, Yume Ren is more of a model of what true ancestors actually are. They're spiritual vampires who are created to punch humanity, but without the Crimson Moon making them extra weird. Now, since Tsukihime also exists, it does, the remake coming out this year, Type Moon probably doesn't want to say they're straight up the same thing because they operate under slightly different rules, and it would get confusing because there is this whole elaborate, backstory and specific methodology to true ancestors. Otherwise, it's literally noted that Yu is very similar to the existence. Like, she has most of the qualities, but there's a couple of different things that aren't the same. So, I don't know which theory is more true. You can take your pick. Is it that Gaia just keeps creating more immortal spirits that drink blood, or is it that because we're in a fate world, Crimson Moon wasn't as shenanigansy, so they true ancestors are not vampiric impulses? I don't even know.
I don't know.
Now, dead apostles can be created by magecraft, so they can exist in either parallel world. Like, it's just, you become a dead apostle when you try to make yourself a vampire. And obviously, I assume that in Tsukihime worlds, mages who make themselves vampires are trying to mimic either true ancestors or dead apostles. So, like, that would still apply. Like, if a mage met Yume Ren and was like, hey, your abilities are cool, I'm a copy with magecraft, and it would be like, oh no, we've gone too far. And then to really round it out, I want to note that Vlad and Carmilla are kind of fake vampires. They're not really dead apostles or anything, but thanks to innocent monster type effects, they display vampiric powers and abilities.
I mean, that's their legend. So
yeah.
with them.
Yeah, they get them as part of their various legend things. We even see this in Apocrypha. Full-blown vampire boy Vlad is taken down by Amakusa wielding black keys. So they are like vampires, but they aren't really dead apostles because they probably did not go through the whole specific dead apostle rigmarole. The Gorgon sisters aren't even that. They just can regain mana by drinking human blood, or possibly animal blood. They have no other vampire traits or powers. But because Nasu's super term, vampire, is so broad, they are called vampires or bloodsuckers as well. Hence why Steno and Urali have vampirism. So, yeah, that's basically everything. Like I said, there's a little bit of, like, weird, dumb complexities and over-analysis here. And at some points, I think, honestly, some of the authors who, like, studied this stuff and made these notes, or translated some of these things, take this more seriously than possibly even Nasu does. Nasu's probably just thinking, hee vampire rubber.
Honestly, sometimes that's all you need.
So, like, I don't want to take too many shots, but there's absolutely a lot of convoluted shit in this writing. And that's why I said it hurt me. It's just, like, sorting out some of this stuff, especially under the caveat that there's this big, stonking, vampire elephant in the room, which is like, oh yeah, in Fate worlds, some of this stuff just isn't straight up true, but then I'm like, but then you literally put a character who is called a true ancestor or something like one in a Fate story, but that must mean that they know what true ancestors are. So it's like, it's really weird, and like I said, I really hope that, at least on a general level, Tsukihime kind of clears this up, because I do believe a lot of this, like, old-ass, high-level information comes from discussions which are had in Tsukihime about life and stuff, because it's still a type moonwork. So, like, I'm pretty sure there are expo dumps in it, which probably are where some of these facts come from, and who the fuck knows, maybe some of those are poorly translated. I work with what I got, guys. But that's where we are. If you have a slight headache, I would not be surprised. So, like I said, I'm not really throwing rocks at Tsukihime specifically, I'm throwing rocks at some of the, like, really very extra backstory Nasu has assembled around it, but for the most part, it's a lot of, like, really fancy way to say generic vampire shit.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully that clarifies some stuff, and explains to you why, if you're not knowledgeable about Tsukihime, you do see some guys busting into conversations yelling about how Vlad and Carmilla and Yume Ren aren't real vampires because they really like Tsukihime and they're assholes about it. Again, nothing wrong with liking Tsukihime, but that's definitely a thing I've noticed where people get really insistent on the specificity of the lore. You can't call Yume Ren a true ancestor? She's not from the moon. Okay, well, script did it anyway, buddy.
Too bad. Deal with it. Live. Oh, look, titties.
And I do want to throw this out there. I'm sure a lot of you want to type some corrections or your own pocket analysis in the comments about what I wrote here. Don't bother. I really, even if it's a positive thing, I don't think I want to mess with this again until, like Lucky said, we get that fucking Tsukihime remake, and I'm like, fuck, that collab, and I gotta fucking explain it to you guys anyway.
I guarantee you, Mega, the moment you said we're going to talk about true ancestors at the top of this, people started writing in their comments and was like, I gotta let him know. He got to know.
Just don't. If you can still go back in time, if you wrote an actually comment, you can get rid of it right now before I have a chance to see it and write down your name in my little book. I'm working with what I got here, okay, guys? considering that I don't have the time to play through however many fucking thousands of words the script of Tsukihime is. Which also probably wouldn't answer some of these questions even, because it came out before Fate, so... yeah, I can understand why you say that, X, why you're not sure you're gonna retain it. There was a lot of theory crafting by me, and I do actually think, like, in general, some of this lore is just unpolished or undercooked. Like, Nasu hasn't really done a lot of stories set in Tsukihime worlds. Like, I believe we know that Kara no Kyokai is supposed to, Kara no Kyokai is supposed to be in the same rough timeline with Tsukihime.
Like, honestly, I that's what I believe, just so that there's more weight in those worlds, if nothing else.
So, a lot of worlds are, like, parallel possibilities.
Lucky's fine, he knew most of this stuff beforehand.
Yeah. But, like, there aren't actually a overwhelming number of stories set in Tsukihime-type worlds, so, like, generally, some of this stuff, like, just hasn't been clarified in almost 20 years, like I said, so... I'm hoping for new sources in the Tsukihime remake, which might smooth out some of the edges which have not been expanded upon super heavy here. Alright, okay. That was StudiOmega Sensei. How about
Hope
those
you all
guys?
learned something.
Yeah, so next week's 2 options so far will be who are the 3 founding families, and then what are the true magics. I expect that one will probably come up since I referenced the second magic, but I do actually believe that while we've mentioned the concept of capital M magic, I don't know if we've actually gone over all of the magics. It'll be pretty short, but we'll touch it, because there's only, like, 6. I think there's only, like, 6 or 7, and we only actually know what half of them even do. Like, literally some of the numbered capital M magics are just, it exists. It exists. Somebody probably knows it. Or, it exists, but has been lost forever. Gee, thanks, Nasu.
Well, I guess we can talk a little about what K-scope is and what fucking...
Well, yeah, like, some of those... Because remember, one of the true magics is actual Heaven's Feel, so, like... There's a decent amount of lore about a couple of the magics that we can actually talk about, but listing them all will be short, so it'll probably be about the... Hey, guys, guess what? The story about the true magics will be about the true magics that Nasu is actually written about and obviously cares about, not the ones that are just in there because, I don't know, 6 true magics sounded cooler. Is this a Nasu thing, or is this just a Japanese thing where they like to create numbers that sound cool and then fill them in with characters or powers or whatever later?
Again, either Nasu is just making shit bad as he goes, or he's just playing a super fucking long game that no one but him knows.
No, I'm thinking about the numbers from Yu-Gi-Oh! There's definitely a Japanese thing where they like to just make up the idea that there's shitloads of numbers and then fill them in later. Maybe was great about this as well. There's like 100 Espada, dude.
Maybe I said maybe there's just maybe he just has extra space for planned expansions.
I mean, yeah, future-proofing is great, but you know what's a better future-proofing? Not including a number. This is because writers usually suck at math. Short name. Alright, that's the Teach Me bit. That only took 50 minutes. Thank you, Vesper, for referencing that, yes. Numbers, they make sense. Yeah, so those will be our 2 topics for next time. Like I said earlier, we will presumably be doing the pregame for Voice and Letter Collection next week on the 29th, because while this ends on the 2nd or 3rd again, I don't remember exactly what it was, Valentine's should start pretty soon after. Like, we might get a gap day to, like, round it out to the end of a week, but it should start pretty fast into February. I have 330 quartz. I'm ready to go. Ready to start. Gonna do goo. We're gonna hope and pray.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything much else to talk about. I mean, we can cross-reference what you might expect in February, but it's mostly Valentine's, and then what does come up next? I suppose I should check really quick.
It's not CCC. It's...
No, I don't think CCC starts until early...
Yeah,
it might be, like, very late February.
The interlude campaign? Rank up campaign or something? Shoot, now I'm curious. I know, I remember we were talking about this. There
might be strengthening quests, yeah. Let me go back in time to 2019.
Whoosh.
February. Valentine's. Ooh, okay. So we've got a make work. Oh, but that just becomes the servant rank up quest part 10. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so it is rank ups. Hey!
Yeah. They also did that to coincide with the Great Traveling Circus event, which we won't get because we don't have a Great Traveling Circus here in Americas. I don't know if that means they'll make something up for a banner for that or not, but yeah. We should get rank up quests, and then Oh no, Seraph does start decently in February. February 20th. Okay.
Okay.
It's the King Protea banner doesn't start until a week after.
Well, let's see. What does rank 10 have? Okay, so we got
Semiramis, Passionlip, Thomas Edison, Beowulf, Shuwen, Kiar, and Hans. Yeah, Hans is gonna get his update. It's getting pretty good. This definitely feels like it's buffing up a couple of characters before we get into CCC. Definitely.
Oh man, seeing Semiramis just reminds me of how I failed Choco Gardens. Ugh.
Well, she will get a rate up, even if you will not get an opportunity to get that grill back. Sadly.
No, I gotta save for King Protea.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's literally just there is just a banner for the CEs back and Semiramis again, much like how they did MHXA last year. But okay, yeah, that's what you should expect in the Januaries. Not the Januaries, the Februaries. It'll start pretty decently in there with voice and letter collection, and that will be a whole thing. And like I said, I will talk to you about that next week. I'm interested. Is there any other filler crap in early 2019 we need to power through? There is an interlude campaign in March, but I don't know if we're gonna skip that ahead. Basically, we need to compact some time down. Okay, well, we're just not gonna get the Escape from the Pyramid campaign, sadly. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just tracking some of the events. Some of the stuff will get moved around.
Yeah, I'm looking at stuff myself.
There's OQ in March. There is 16 million downloads, Gouda Gouda rerun, and then case files in April. April very busy. We've already pulled the Learn with Manga thing out of May. That gives us an extra week there. We'll probably not have this Soundtrack 3 release campaign. Have they even released the soundtracks officially?
Oh,
in
you
America?
can. No,
Yeah, you can
they
import
have
them. Okay, they have. All right, that's cool. I was just wondering because I'm like,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can buy them on Anaplex's store.
I should double check that. Not that I really need to own them in disc format, but
Well, I will double check here real quick.
Oh, we've already Axe to remind your mushy brain. We already did Fan Servant last week.
Let's see, Fate Grand Order.
Where we talked about Pope Joan. So I will set up a poll for February. It will be Lyra themed. True.
Jesus, this Mothman figure is expensive.
Figures are expensive.
No, it's literally $500. I mean, it's
one of those super ultra detail ones, though, isn't it?
Hang on, let me just post this in Patreon chat. There it goes. Yeah, that's $478.98.
Yeah, no, it's got a lot of the details, though.
It does got a lot of the details. These are all the figures. What about your actual fucking merch? You animals. I know this is all what you got. Don't at me. I'll end you. Okay, well, I can't find it, so maybe...
did somebody forget to accidentally do the ads? Okay, well, we'll research that. Hey, audience, let us know if you know.
Oh, maybe it was on Right Stuff.
Could be. Sorry, while Lucky's looking at this, Omega's just taking a quick chance to double-check his Twitter.
Oh, you can still buy Gudiko and Mashu beans. The Musashi bean is still no longer available.
Of course. It's the coolest one. That was actually in FGO.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, wow. So I take it back. It is on Right Stuff, but it is the import. It's also no longer available.
Interesting. Well, I mean, that makes sense, because, it's just CDs. That's one of those things that it's not like the FGO, figurine thing, Duel, that's right. Dominate Grail Wars, the other thing. The FGO Duel, where, you probably should have put some effort to, localize that. Soundtracks are something that really don't need it, because I think they're not, intended for, region locking or anything.
Oh, but they do have the... Okay, so they don't have OST 1 in stock, but they do have OST 2 in stock.
Oh, so if they don't have an option for 3, we might actually get some on that.
Yeah.
Because we are reaching a point in the game where OST 3 is about to come out.
Yeah, let's see here. They also have Fate Grand Order's Trail art books. Basically, cells and whatnot from the CMs. Let's see what else we got going on. Oh, yeah,
that's
here.
right. We've got that other awkward thing in JP. They did the thing where they do the summer rerun before anniversary again, so we're not going to do that this year for us, obviously.
Oh no.
That probably means that's going to be any summer rerun immediately back into new summer as usual. But yeah, so there will be a decent pace of campaigns. Also expect some filler stuff to get moved up to make room, because remember, they got to scooch everything up about a month. Technically, the Servant Summer Festival rerun in Japan started like July 17th and ended on like August 3rd. It could still do that in NA. It's just that they still have to do the anniversary beforehand. I think the big thing is they need to move up Guda Guda Final Hanoji, because that in Japan anyway, that literally started July 4th, which is usually when we do our like big anniversary celebrations. God, that just got me thinking about the Backstreet Boys reunion tour, and like, will there be like AX and SoccerCon and stuff this year? Probably not.
Probably not. We're probably not far. We're probably not.
I know that currently Tokyo is battling rumors that they're canceling the Tokyo Olympics. Japan has officially said that they're not doing it, but people said that in private they said they were doing it. We'll see how that goes.
I want the Scathach. How fucking dare. Excuse you. I'm gonna post it, because other people need to see this. Nope. Gotta save money.
Good night.
Save money.
It's time to wrap up, because it's daily login time, everybody.
Oh, it is.
Get your shit in there. Soz. It's time to wrap up the show. We will see you next week. We will see you later this week for What's Up, where we're going to talk about other stuff.
Other stuff.
Games, gotcha, and stuff. Don't know exactly what we're doing for that recording, but we'll see.
I was thinking I could play Hades.
You could play some Hades on cam.
Or we can play, that's since on the well, we'll figure it out tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll figure out what we're doing. Talk about other stuff. So, it's time to do the outro. Flex my knuckles somewhere. Hey, so, if you like the show, be sure to give us a like. If you have any comments, except the ones I told you not to leave them in the comment section down below. You can also hit up our Discord. The link is, as always, on the description. It's also on our channel page. And, of course, if you're new here and haven't already, please subscribe to our channel to always get our latest videos. And also, I hope you stay subscribed, because I don't know what the hell has been going on, but like that number has been jumping up and down between like 920 and 922 a lot in the past like 3 days, and it's really bothering me. It's like always goes up by like exactly 2 and then goes down. So please sub and stay subbed. Thanks. You can also hit the bell for notifications so you always know when we post a new video. And of course, when we are able to stream again on this channel, when we stream again. And the only other thing to say is you can support us by joining our channel memberships. Membership down there. And, of course, you can support us on Patreon. You can get access to episodes early and in audio format for as little as $1 a month or $10 a year. As a lot of people at the start of the year have been bumping up to get some yearly subs. That's cool. It's great. And you get access to lots of other days at higher levels, such as voting on topic polls like Teach Me Omega Sensei and Fan Servant Friday. Woohoo! Woohoo! And you can listen to the show live and all kinds of other stuff. Oh, no, Vesper, I'll never play Muffin Time again. You can play Muffin Time with Lucky if you'll put up with it. I can't guarantee that any of you will be alive at the end of it. You will be dead.
Hang on a second here. Someone's being fucking cheeky.
Yeah, you gotta figure out which one it is. The avatar's still the same, so I know which animal person that is. Which of my many Discord animal babies. Well, that's how that goes. Okay, that's our wrap-up. We'll see you next time for more Let's Talk FGO. Alright, goodbye, everybody. Ciao, because we're saying that now, I guess.
Yeah.